All right, it's 6 o'clock. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Stand for pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Secretary, if you could please read the roll call. Here.
Wilson.
Here.
Desai.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Gordon.
Here.
Thoreau.
Here.
And Gamble. We have a quorum.
Did we have any guest speakers that were signed in?
I didn't put a sheet out, so it's who wants to speak.
Is there any that needed to speak for a few minutes or so? Okay, and Madam Secretary, the approval of the minutes for December 17th through of last year, 2018.
I looked them over.
I see any correction?
I didn't see no typos.
Can we have a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? All right. The next item on the agenda is the mission statement and the A&P review. And it's a new year, and I was elected chair of 2019, or in December. So I just want to read a quick letter that I wrote towards A&P. It's very short, but just kind of gives an overview to begin 2019. And we want to welcome our new commissioners, Mr. Mark Gordon and Mr. Bruce Thoreau. We're happy to have you on board.
Thank you.
And we hope that together we can continue to help Hardy grow and push our city into a better future. The Hardy A&P, I believe, is an asset to the city of Hardy. It collects a food tax on dining and lodging transactions. This fee is not paid out of the business owner's pocket, but is an additional tax to the state sales tax that is collected and then stays in our own local A&P. It helps to take some of the financial weight off the city budget by providing funds for tourism, advertising, signage, event support, and many other items done around the city in order for Hardy to be a great place for tourists and families to come year after year. We do have a list showing the things that Hardy A&P has done last year. Well, is this for the last couple of years?
2013.
Okay. If anyone is interested in it, we can make a copy of that. A lot of times there can be negative opinions and feelings as to how best to use the monies received, but we each must try our best to use the monies to the best of our ability to further the growth of Hardy. It isn't just about advertising in magazines and billboards. The A&P must use the funds for many various projects, including street signs, parks projects, our new event center, event support, and many more, and it must be used wisely. I joined the A&P in October 2016, and I admit at the time I was not fully aware of what the A&P did as a whole for the city. But after having served on its board, I do believe, as stated earlier, that it is a true asset. I've been elected chair this last December, and I look forward to continuing to serve the A&P and my fellow commissioners in 2019. So thank you very much, and if anyone needs a copy of that, we can send that to you. We do want to read the mission statement. Did you have that on file?
Mayor Chairman,
Yes.
would you like that to be put into the minutes so it be a record?
Sure, and I'll send that to Mimi too, so that it stays on file.
I'll pass the copy to Greg.
Hardy Advertising and Promotion Commission mission statement. The Advertising and Promotion Commission will prepare and execute a long-term strategic plan for the external advertising of the community in order to promote tourism and support the commercial growth of the city of Hardy. The Commission, through progressive thinking and credible, efficient, and responsive actions, will strive to interact and work in partnership with the Hardy City Council to provide, maintain, and improve Hardy's image as a memorable tourist destination by retaining and showcasing its small-town atmosphere and unique character. The Commission will at all times be fair and impartial in their decision-making and will not endorse any specific business at any given time. The commission will endeavor to conduct commission and city business without the expectation of personal or business gain. The commission will maintain the decorum of every meeting and will not allow any unprofessional or disrespectful behavior at meetings. The commission will identify and promote party in the appropriate catchment areas in order to encourage tourism. It will continually review and evaluate its decisions so as to effectively understand its actions in order to better determine future needs. The commission will prepare and agree on a budget for the upcoming year in good time. It will hold itself accountable and be transparent with the relevant financial reports, as well as provide quarterly budgetary updates. By fulfilling its mission, the A&P Commission will make a significant positive contribution to the city of Hardee for the long-term benefit of its residents, business owners, and visitors.
Thank you.
And Bruce and Mark, you're probably the only two that don't have a copy of that.
I've given it
I've
to
got
you.
I think,
Did you?
yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
So the next is the agenda approval. Did anybody have anything they needed to add that wasn't on there? Sure.
I know I added some, but there's a couple other things, and my other comment would be, you got Hearts of Hardy on there as old and new business. You want,
Oh, we scratched off one. It was
Which
on there
one was
twice. So it's probably,
Yeah, I actually left off your parking lot discussion.
yeah, that'd be fine.
So let's just put parking in there if you don't mind, because I had it in there, and then when I did the formatting, I messed it up.
You want that?
so
We're
parking
on,
on the bottom.
Yeah, just put parking in there.
instead
So
of
be under
Hearts.
new, right?
Okay, and my other couple things was, I like to put on the warming cooling center, possible discussion. And I guess that would be new business.
It's what? Heating and cooling center?
Well, yeah, a warming and cooling
Warming
center,
center.
especially like tonight and tomorrow.
And I also have to add a brief blurb about KAIT requesting something through our Facebook page. I just gotta bring that up.
So parking, warming, and cooling,
Yeah.
and KAIT. Taking off the second version of Hearts of Hardy.
Okay. Anything else?
I'd like to move under the reports, financial report, I'd like to actually give that report after new business.
Financial report.
Yeah, the financial report.
You gonna surprise us or something?
After the new business,
Maybe, who knows?
which is the last item on the agenda,
Yes, after all discussions under new business.
everything else.
Everything else, the financial report will be the last item then. Yes.
Do you want to vote on that or something? You're going to do it, as you recall.
Do you want me to make, I can make a motion to revise the agenda as discussed.
Okay.
Need a second?
Jeff will second.
I'm sorry, but I didn't hear what your motion is.
Okay, to approve
Amend-
the agenda.
Amend the agenda as we discussed.
Yeah.
It's a little difficult for me to hear on this one.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? And that was, Bruce did it and then Jeff seconded it. All right, so our first
Oh,
is,
I'm sorry, I wanted to add something. Governor's tourist comments under new business.
okay, yeah, I guess that was one that you didn't have, that wasn't, okay.
You want dinner?
Governor's tourist comments.
Oh, Governor.
You already put so much on one sheet of paper.
Do you want more paper?
Okay, we do have a lot out here tonight, so we're gonna probably have to kind of move quickly as we can. All right, the first item is the LED display sign status and Wilson Relay.
You would say we had to move quickly.
Take your time, whatever it takes.
Well, for Mark's and Bruce's benefit, I just want to give the short version down and dirty. If you have any questions, you can tell me, but
Charles, we're gonna have to have you speak up.
I'm sorry, I appreciate y'all working with me, if you just speak just a little bit louder.
okay. I was assigned the project of doing something about this horrible looking sign out here in April of last year. And we went through, and like I said, this is going to be a short version. We went through several versions, iterations of what we were going to do, but we finally ended up taking bids and deciding to buy an LED sign and have the top sign that's been blown away by the wind replaced. And we voted to do that and buy one from one of the sign companies that submitted a bid. And when the mayor saw our bids, he knew someone who owned a sign company. And he was able to get the sign for about, I think it's $7,000 cheaper than we could get the cheapest bid on it, which was really good. And he had another sign that he had, I guess, from the bank, wasn't it?
Simmons Bank.
Simmons Bank, that could be used to replace the top sign. And he had a company in, he told me Cabot, but it actually turned out to be Little Rock, that would install our sign and replace the top sign for $1,200. So we went ahead and he sort of took the project over at that point and ordered the sign from the sign company in Florida. And there was a little delay, but I think the sign arrived here on October the 29th. So it's been sitting in the Civic Center in here for 4 months. And I tried to get Jason to give me the name of the company that he had to install the sign, and could he come up with the sign so we could get the top part replaced. I was not able to get any information on that until the last meeting, and Nemi volunteered to check and see if she could find out some information on it. So she sent out an email to all of us. I don't think you two were on it, but the email says, Jason Jackson notified me last week that the sign, along with his trailer, was stolen from his property in Jonesboro. His property that was rented had been trashed and vandalized, and he is still taking inventory of all the stolen items. I suggest that we go ahead and install a digital sign and look into installing a sign up on the canopy. We can discuss other options at the meeting. When you say canopy, are you talking about the top sign? Or this canopy here?
Yeah.
What about the top sign over here?
We have the if we have the digital, that will still serve the purpose. It's trying to look for a new sign, because trying to find a new sign is going to be a lot more than what we budgeted.
Okay.
Because if we try to do an LED sign and look for a new one, it's going to be close to, give or take, with installation, probably 8,000.
How much?
8,000.
That's a pretty good guess.
What?
Okay, I finally,
We've got the LED sign.
Yeah.
Then there's another spot that we were gonna have a free sign, a sign that was given by the mayor that wouldn't cost us anything, that we could put
Like
fix it.
one on one side, one on the other?
No, top
one
of each
above
other.
each other.
Above
the
each
But
other.
now
top
that
sign.
sign is missing, so we gotta figure out something about doing for the above the LED and getting it installed, right?
right,
So there is no top sign at the moment, so that's irrelevant,
Right.
right?
Well,
We have
there's
the
a frame
digital-
up there,
The digital
right?
sign, so, no, not the frame, no. The digital sign
The
is
sign
here,
itself.
sitting in the
Correct,
back.
I understand.
When we say LED sign, basically that will just have Hardy's logo or whatever we want to put on it. It's a stand-free sign, like on my property, I have my,
You got the
That's the
LED,
scale.
I don't understand, the
Yes.
LED,
So-
that you can change it with the
Right.
computer and
so
whatnot.
the way I
Right.
see it, at this
It's a
point,
message
since we
sign.
have the digital sign, we can go ahead and install the digital sign and then think about something up here at a later stage.
And what's the digital sign again? That's something that
That's
manually you
all-
have to put
The digital
up?
sign will be the sign that will flash, it's a moving sign.
Is that the
Like-
same as LED?
it's just like the sign across the street,
I don't know if you
That's
yeah.
a LED.
Century 21.
Isn't that the
See
LED?
that?
Yeah.
It has different messages.
Oh,
It's called
I
digital.
guess I'm very
You're talking about,
confused about
you're
it.
both talking about the same thing.
Yeah, we're talking about
It's
the
the
same
very
thing, yeah.
LED and digital, use them interchangeably here, okay?
Okay, so.
So it's the same,
Nemi
okay.
Nemi suggested we consider other options, so I went ahead and got some estimates on doing the same work that we had and replacing the top sign. And if Nemi says we can't do it due to money, then maybe we can't do it. But I would like for you to look at the estimates.
What was the original budget?
Huh?
What was originally budgeted for that?
What was it?
2 copies, Fred.
Let me check. Charles, do you remember what the original budget was on it?
Before the
No,
mayor?
no.
Plus minus 21,000 is what we're looking at.
Pardon me?
Plus minus 21,000.
21.
Yes, sir.
How much was spent so far?
So far, I believe 17. I'll tell you. The city gave half and we used half. That would be.
Okay, this is completely replacing the top sign, installing the digital sign, and putting pole cover on the pole. There's a little bit of...
Painting it.
Huh?
Painting it? No?
If you want to do that,
Yeah.
I guess, but it'd look a lot better with a nice square cover on it, and it doesn't cost that much more.
Like aluminum lettering?
Yes.
They don't care. As long as it's in the budget.
The first two just gave a flat
You're still looking at it.
amount to do the work. And the last one, from Arkansas Sign and Neon, is the company that Jason Jackson recommended. When I called them about it and asked them, you know, if they could give me an estimate on it and talk about it, and the guy whose name is David Ashley said, Charles, that's been so long since I talked to him about that, I don't remember anything about it. You're going to have to tell me what you need done. And all 3 bids, I gave the requirements the same to all 3 of them. And I think they all 3 have covered the same thing, except one thing I didn't think about, they would charge, and Couples mentioned it in their bid, which I got first, is that Couples is going to charge $50 an hour for training, which is not in their bid. I asked him about that, and he said, Charles, you know, it won't take an hour or 2 to train somebody on a computer to operate that sign. So I said, fine. Anderson included the training with their bid, and the guy in Little Rock, I asked him about it, and he said, oh, well, if we didn't sell the sign, we can't provide the training. You'll have to go back to the factory, and they'll set you up with online courses to operate the sign.
That's usually how it works. The installer doesn't do the training.
Yeah, especially when they don't sell the sign,
Probably. Yeah, if they don't sell the sign, that's right.
or when they don't sell it, yeah.
Well, you got 2 bids then for installation?
Got 3.
3 bids.
And there's a big difference, and I thought maybe I could find a discrepancy somewhere in Arkansas Sign and Neon, because frankly, I thought Anderson could do a much better job. And they did the one across the street, they did Renee's out at the funeral home, they did Artisans, they've done...
So they've been in the area.
Yeah,
Okay, and what was the name of that company? Anderson?
yeah. They're the second one in your package there.
Well, we got a package.
The 3 bids,
3 pages.
Bruce. This one here.
Did I get that?
Didn't I give you one?
That's the problem, I think you passed him over.
Did I pass you?
Yes, that's why I'm asking so many questions.
Do we want to get a motion going to be able to discuss bidding on this since we know now what we're doing with
Okay,
it?
give me my back. You got one there.
We've got
Thing
3
is,
bids.
does this include a completely new LED sign? I'm not talking about the one that's sitting out there, but the sign that's going to have the logo.
Yeah, they said they would do any artwork we wanted to put on the top sign, and I told them we voted on that and decided that we wanted the Hardy logo and the word Civic Center on
Okay,
it.
are they going to use that sign that frame that's out there?
Yeah,
That's doable. They can rebuild
I hope so, yeah.
it's not that bad shape.
that. They know how to do it.
Because we have already spent a lot of money on the
Couples and
LED sign
Anderson
already.
both looked
So
at
we
it,
need to use it and
and
get
they
it
said they
up
could do it.
somehow. Otherwise, it's just sitting there.
I do want to correct you though, when you voted to do the Hardy was all you put on there, you don't put Civic Center. You want us to do Hardy on that logo right there pretty much.
Yes, that's what we voted.
And no words at all?
No, because it's.
Remember it that way,
Well,
right?
it is. That's what-
And the LED will have words
It's in the
going.
minutes.
So that'd just be
Oh, yeah.
kind of a,
The idea is that you're really advertising Hardy, it's not the Civic Center sign anymore, it's more of the general information.
Whatever artwork you want to put on.
Yeah.
Well, I make a motion to discuss the sign further.
okay? Does anyone second that? So we move into discussion now?
You always don't need a
Second.
motion.
No?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you need a motion that says what you propose to do.
Well, we like to discuss a little bit further, I think.
I think, yeah,
What
I
are you
hope we can
discussing?
make a decision
Discussing
to
doing
go
something?
for it.
Okay, right.
I mean, make a direction. What's your proposal, sir?
What's my proposal? Take the lowest bid. They can do it, they said, all 3 of them said the same thing, that they don't
Yeah.
make the top 2 plastic faces that fit the frame. They have to send off for that, and it usually takes about 30 days. And all of them said that as soon as they got those in, they would be up here to install them and LED sign, the watchfires.
Is the artwork already finished and ready to give to
No,
someone?
but I'll send it to them the day after it's approved. But I wasn't aware that we voted for just the logo. I thought we were going to put Civic Center
No, we voted for the logo.
on. Stand corrected.
According to the procedure that we had voted in place, we really can't vote on this evening because that procedure says that everybody should have a copy. We should look at all of the bids and then we would vote on it at the next meeting. So we really need to follow that procedure. And I realize that's another month's delay,
Sure is.
but
And there's going to be another month after that to order the
if
faces.
if y'all have another suggestion or you want to make a change, you can certainly speak up and say so. But that is just a reminder, that is the procedure that we did vote on.
If everybody agrees to override that, can that be done, or is this set?
Yeah.
I think it can be. We can make a
Make a
motion.
motion to waive the rules and then make your motion.
Mr. Martin, you are not the commissioner. Don't interrupt. You were asking.
You got another gentleman sitting up there that's not on the commission either, he's inputting there, so shut up.
Okay, let's continue on here. Ms. Frieda.
You gonna throw me out?
It's okay, it's okay.
Make a-
Okay.
I make a motion that we override that and go ahead and get this out of the way because it's gonna be spring quick. Y'all obviously already thought about it.
Before Memorial Day anyway.
Yeah.
And the rate we're going, we're not going to get it.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we probably need to do an individual on this then. Ms. Frieda? Was there any more discussion about it? Did you
Is
guys
this a
have any more
discussion? What's the
discussion?
motion to do what?
Only motion I'm making is to override the rule that it has to wait till next month
Okay.
to discuss it further and make a vote on
And
it.
then Bruce seconded it. So we'll go individual on
Because
this.
you're looking at 60 days if we don't.
Right, because they gotta install it too. We've already had it since October. I mean, we've about spent 17,000, and it's just sitting in the room and not doing anything, so.
Okay.
So,
Voice vote. Prue,
yes.
Wilson,
Abstain.
Desai,
Abstain.
Smith,
Yes.
Gordon,
Yes.
Thoreau,
Yes.
and I abstain.
I'll change my.
Motion carried with, Wilson, sorry.
I want to say yes then, that's it. I was trying to remain impartial, but I don't think.
Well, we haven't voted on anything, we're just,
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
we're trying to discuss it at this
Right.
meeting and not next.
We're trying to review
Well, we have
these.
6 yes and 2 abstain.
All right, so motion carried. Okay, so now we have 3 bids on the table in order to go forward with getting it installed and to get a sign above the LED sign. So,
What
We
was
can
the
do a motion
recommendation
and
again?
Recommend we take the lowest bid, which is Arkansas Sign Neon in Little Rock. It was, theirs is $59.05 and the nearest one is $7,500.
And then, and one only other reminder before we make any other motions was that supposedly we had 21,000 somewhat budget
Plus minus.
overall. We already spent about 17,500. So that leaves us, about $3,500 over if we, to install, basically. So if we elect to do any of these 3, then we would have to come up with additional funding.
Exactly. That's right.
That's my only comment, and what we
We
do
have-
from here.
Greg, if you recall, I don't remember, I don't have the figures, but the city had approved to pay, I think it was 12,500.
No, I think we paid $8,700.
We paid, but there was
For
an
the
approval
sign?
We paid for the sign, you were gonna take on the lights. I think is how it
Yeah, the
was.
lights we're going to take on. So
But
we have to go,
we've spent our money for last year, it's not in the budget.
I think for the signs it was 9,500.
So is there any,
Yeah, for the signs it was 9,500, the city was going to pay, I'm almost sure. of that.
in addition to the 17 we've already paid?
No, just
Okay.
overall, this is
Okay.
where the split was. The city had, I'm almost sure it was 9,500, and then the lights was probably 2,500. Yes, or something to the, 3,000.
3,000,
Lights was
I think.
3,000, that's right. So there's just a small balance that's left for the city to pay towards this. We need to come up with a difference.
has it been in that budget this last year, or this year's budget? Is there any money there?
That's why I requested to move financial report towards the end, because of all this.
Well, we kind of need to know if we can move that, don't we? We need to know if we can move that, because we need to make some type of decision.
I
So
do
whether we move
believe,
monies or-
what I would like to suggest is that everyone studied, I go through the figures as well, and I want to make sure that we have everything, and we can have a special meeting to make the decision and go ahead with the job. There's nothing wrong in us calling a special meeting to do this, guys. We don't, I know that it's taking time, and I know that we're asking for more time, but at the same time, let's be reasonable and
Oh,
logical as well.
That makes sense.
I'm sorry, I only had one copy.
And that's double-sided both.
Is that a sign?
It's just a picture of a proposed. I think couples do that.
Is that what you guys want to do, is,
You have a motion, Mr. Wilson made a motion to use the lowest bid.
No, I didn't make.
Oh, you didn't make the
Not
motion?
No,
yet.
he hasn't made
No,
this.
that was a recommendation.
It's almost a motion.
Right.
I thought you made it.
Well,
yeah, it's not going to be this, it's going to be.
If we don't know if the money's available, I mean,
That's what I want to make sure, that we have the monies available before we start overcommitting.
Okay.
Can we table this until after your financial
Yeah.
report?
I don't have all the paperwork for what we paid.
Okay.
I have to go through all that to make sure that we have sufficient for this year. And we are looking at.
What was
what's
paid
it-
for the sign?
How much are we looking at?
so what we know the
5,905?
difference about,
$6,000, $5,905.
well, if you got
5905.
35, 6,
Charles, do we know if there's going to be taxes added to this?
There will be taxes.
There will,
on
so
all
we
of
look
it.
at more than 5,950. I don't know what the tax percentage would be.
So we're about $2,500,
Customs.
$3,000 short.
I do have one question though. This is the installation for the one sign or for both signs? Is it the installation cost?
Both.
Both? Oh, he's got here install owner's watch fire, okay. I'm sorry, I didn't see that there. Okay.
Well, I make a motion that we accept the lowest bid on the sign and that we'll have to revise the budget to accommodate at a later date. Can we do that?
Second.
I guess we could, so far.
Any other discussion on it?
I'll make some more discuss. And the reason I'm saying this is that I think we need to go ahead, since we do have the sign here, I think there's funds available. I just have to put faith that there is, that we can adjust our budget as it is. And I think the commission has the ability to do that.
And I think we were initially planning on having something that was donated, that now is not being donated, that now we have to fill in that
Yes.
gap somehow. So, I mean, we're gonna have to pay a little more now because we're having to have it done ourselves, so.
Yeah, that actually added $3,000, I think, to each one of the bids.
Yeah,
All
about
told,
3,000,
one of
that's
them was
right.
3,300.
For what, framing and whatnot?
No, the two signs on top. They're molded plastic with the artwork on
So
them.
we're not going to get that, we're just getting the digital put up.
No,
We're
you're
getting
getting all of it.
We're getting all of it, it'll be
Okay,
completely
so
done.
everything's clear that we're getting it all, and then
Yeah.
after, if it's approved, then Charles can contact
Right,
Arkansas Sign and get things kind of rolling, and, you know, if we don't have, there'll be what, 60 days, 2 months before final billing?
Probably, give or take.
And what's their,
They
is there a
require-
final billing of 30 days or
They
anything like that?
require 50%
Sent
down.
down, and which I think we have. We should have.
Mr. Green?
I was curious, was there a budget amount or a figure before Mayor Jackson told y'all he could get it all for free or
She said
whatever?
it was right around
Yeah.
21,000, so
Plus
we're
minus
short a little
21,000.
bit, so that's,
We're probably looking at about, give or take 3,000. And I do believe we could do that.
That's what I wanted to hear right there.
I do believe we
Okay.
can do that, but that's why I'm waiting till the 8th.
Okay.
yeah,
Just
that is
So instead of
reasonable.
21, it'll be 24,000 by the time everything's said and done. and
About
something.
20.
But it'll look good for the city for Memorial Day.
And is that all, Charles, is that all the computer hookup and whatever, I don't know, what you have,
Everything except.
from your
one of them-
laptop or something that you
I believe we can
operate?
do it from a laptop, yeah, it's, or computer.
Just power and toll.
Uh-huh.
Okay. All right,
Something like that. There'll be
let,
Wi-Fi and all that.
so we have a motion by Mr. Wilson and a second by Bruce.
He made the motion.
I made-
Charles Witt second.
Okay.
Charles.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Charles.
you're
And
right.
his motion was to accept the lowest bid and sign providing the budget.
So we need to take a individual vote. Please.
Prue,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Desai,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Gordon,
Yes.
Thoreau,
Yes.
and Cameron says yes. Motion is approved.
Charles, do you know what the tax percentage is? Charles? Do you know what their tax percentage is?
It's either local taxes, I think, whatever Marty pays.
Yeah, I think so, yeah, probably 10.5.
Where's the A and P tax exempt?
Be 10.5, A and P is 1.875.
No, I'm saying is A and P, are we a tax exempt entity?
No. Neither is the city. So we pay taxes.
Okay, Mr. Charles, you have bylaws review. Do you had some questions on that. Go ahead with that.
We talked last time about the election officers and that kind of thing, but I didn't see the minutes where we set forth the requirement to establish the meeting dates and times and places for next year. And I thought since we had 2 new commissioners on board, we might discuss that to see if the 3rd Monday or 4th Monday or whatever date is okay with them, or if anybody else had any suggestions on the time, date, and place.
Can I ask Ernie something? Mayor Rose, I got a question for you. The fire meetings are what, Mondays of the month? I knew it was tonight, but it's, what's the last?
Second and last.
I'm the only fireman on there, but
So you're.
I see I got 2 meetings tonight, so.
So does the 4th Monday work for you, or
The 3rd would then work for you.
Yeah,
3rd will work for you?
absolutely.
How about you?
I'll make it work.
Of course it would work.
Yeah,
Arnold, what are we meeting for again?
And Mondays are still the night that works for you, right?
Except for the first Monday of the month, I have my work meeting
Okay.
at my other job. But I mean, I realize I'm the only one, but if you're asking, so
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
we want to make sure that it accommodates everyone.
you're saying the 3rd Monday of the month?
Right now it's the 4th,
Right now, it's on the 4th Monday.
so we would need to move it to the 3rd Monday in order to accommodate you being able to go to your firefighter.
Charles, you can.
Okay. Does anyone want to make a motion to move it to the 3rd?
Charles, did you check? Darlene said something to you.
what'd you say?
Kiwanis is the 3rd Monday.
Yeah, I've been missing my Kiwanis meeting because I think this is more important. But she did not tell me to do this, but I think it would help our chairman because Monday is her day off every week. It's like her weekend. And if we had it on a different day of the week, she could come to the meeting from work. She would have to make a special trip to town.
Well, I appreciate that, Charles. But Mondays are the only day that he can come to, so.
Only
So
day of the
we're-
week.
I'm flexible, but we'll do whatever. We're one day a month, right? Whatever works for you, man.
I'm flexible, so.
I'm not gonna be kicked off for not being there tonight. I don't think.
They can't kick you too
Yeah.
hard, just down the road.
Well, do we want to keep it status quo then for now?
Do you guys want to change the day, the week, or what? Because who is it that can make it the 3rd Monday? Is it-
He can make it the 3rd
He can
Monday.
make it.
I can make it any Monday.
I can make it regardless. I would, if I was able to hit them all, because I need more meetings in my life, actually. So,
Okay,
I have no problem with any day, so.
okay,
Any
I
Monday.
don't either, really.
okay.
One,
No action.
Kiwanis will probably.
All right, let's table it for a bit and we'll kind of let it rise up maybe.
Why we
next-
take, we can ask?
No, I mean, we can change it, but no one seems to.
No one's making a motion yet.
Let's decide why table just a meeting day, if everyone's okay with 3rd
And
Monday.
that's for this commission meeting, is that what
Yes, yeah,
I understand?
for A&P.
Okay.
But
If
the
you
3rd
change it
Monday
till
doesn't work
Wednesday,
for
which
you
are-
guys, right?
just keep it what it is. I don't see action. Don't worry about it.
You want a motion to keep it where it is?
I'd like to make a motion to move it to 3rd Monday, so it accommodates everyone.
Charles, but that messes you up then.
Oh, is that's what I was asking.
That was-
Who does-
Yeah, that-
Okay, then no,
That
let's,
sort of messes me up.
if that messes you up, so 3rd Monday messes you up.
And Mark can make
I'm
it
good.
sometimes.
Okay.
Is there another
Let's
day
just
that we
not
can think
action.
about other than Monday then?
Well, that's
This will work,
basic-
what we got.
That's the basic question.
Yeah.
Okay, no action right now and we can discuss it if someone
Okay.
has schedule changes along life's way.
You can always move it
Okay.
if it becomes.
Sorry.
Yeah, and we can always move it if we have something coming up. Like, I think that brings something up. Next month, on the,
February?
yes, because I'm supposed to go to that governor's conference
Yes, that's
on
the
tourism. That is the 25th, and that is the 4th.
Oh, so you
Monday.
can't do it.
So if we could move it for that one, that would be appreciated. So we can make an action on that.
We can make an exception.
We can change the date for
So we can
For the month
change
of
that
February.
date We can go ahead and set a regular day, and if it is on the, whatever blank week that is, if we have to change it, we can change it. We've done that before.
Okay.
We've postponed or chosen a different day and a different week.
Okay.
But we just set that at the
Or
time.
Charles can just chair that meeting while.
Yeah, that too, if you guys want to go on, go ahead, that's fine
Just a
too.
thought.
Otherwise, if we want to move it to the 18th for the month of February,
Would that work for
I
everybody?
don't have a problem.
so we'll just move it to next month's meeting to the 18th.
The 18th.
All right, we're just moving the meeting to February 18th next
There's
month.
some big objection to it.
Is there any objection? Okay, so next month's meeting, the third Monday on the 18th. Okay. And then back to status quo for March.
Yes.
Okay, so,
Can I-
bylaws, yes.
One other thing about the bylaws. It says, Article 3, all checks issued by the commission shall be signed by 2 commission members, one of whom must be an officer. I'm just curious, who's on our checking account right now?
Frida and myself.
Maybe and I, we're both officers.
Okay. Any consideration that maybe Kristen might be put on it also? In case one of you aren't here?
Yep, not a problem.
Well, we need to, because we
Yeah.
had the
I
previous.
thought we had 3. No, we didn't. No, it was always
Raymond
2.
wasn't on there last year?
Yes, that's right. That's right. We had Raymond, yes. We did.
I've seen 3
Thank
signatures
you.
on a check.
Yes.
You're gonna have to have him removed anyway,
So
so.
we,
Yes, yes.
and Raymond.
Bob's here, so he can arrange that for us. What paperwork do we need to bring?
Just a copy of the minutes with the details
Okay.
on who's coming off and who's going on.
Miss Frida, you can do that, right?
Yeah, I can do that.
She'll do that.
I think I did it before.
Okay.
And then everyone has to sign it, take a look at that.
So we don't need to sign the letter that she brings?
No,
Or
just
do,
minutes will be fine.
and then you'll give us the form to sign?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Charles, thanks for that because that slipped my mind.
That was a good reminder though, because I.
I think that is gonna be a good
Okay, so,
Okay, we need to make a motion for myself to be on the account
So moved.
versus,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any nays?
okay, who made the motion?
Mr. Wilson? Mr. Terrell seconded.
Wilson did.
Yeah.
And who's second?
Mr. Terrell?
All right, anything?
One more
Yep.
small item that I think we've sort of ignored for at least another past year. Under section F, commission meetings, emergency or special meetings may be called by the chairman or vice chairman. The secretary shall provide notice of any emergency or special meeting as required by Arkansas Code.
I've been sending notices. Did you not get one?
I'm just,
Which one, I'm sorry, which one are you talking about?
I'm talking about emergency or special meetings.
Yeah, when we have
She's been sending out those notices.
when we have a special meeting,
That's
or if
not,
there's.
that's not what it says. It says the chairman or the vice chairman will call the meeting. I don't know of any meetings in the past year that either Kristen or Raymond called.
Raymond was involved with I may have sent the email, but Raymond and I both spoke to the attorney and then that email went out about the special meeting.
Okay. But it's pretty clear what it says, and I
Right.
just wanted to bring it up to, as a sort of
Sure,
reminder.
yeah. But yes, Raymond was included in that, just, he spoke to the attorney, and it was after his discussion and my discussion that I happened to send it out, or else his wife would be sending it out.
That is all I wanted to talk
Okay.
about.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Let's decide, did you want to go ahead with the hotels.com litigation?
Yes, I've given both the new commissioners the attorney's, whatever you call it, RFQ, request for qualifications. This is to do with hotels.com, the lawsuit that's been going on. It's been several years, and it's regarding A&P taxes. Even though our hotels are receiving taxes on third-party reservations, there has been some other cities in Arkansas that haven't. So this is a class action for the whole of Arkansas. In order for an A&P to benefit, whether it's benefits or not, we have to still appoint an attorney, no cost to us, according to the paperwork that I have here. It is just that they represent every city A&P that will appoint an attorney. We've been through the advertising and all of that in the newspaper for bids. We only received one proposal from Trash Law Firm, and the attorney has gone through the paperwork, Mr. John Baker, and he has advised to go ahead with this. He sees nothing wrong. The reason why we're choosing Trash Law Firm, because they have been working with the lawsuit from day one, so they know the history. If we look for another attorney, we may have to pay them. So that's the advice, and I would like to make a motion that we go ahead and hire Trash Law Firm to represent Hardy A&P Commission.
Is this just Hotels.com is doing that?
Yes, that's just the lawsuit.
Okay.
That's just for the lawsuit. It's a class action, I think they call it class action lawsuit. So I make a motion that we hire Trash Law Firm. They are out of Little Rock. It's actually I'll read the letter. I guess it's Pine Bluff A&P Commission et al. Versus Hotels.com et al. Intervention and claim. Dear Commissioners Desai and Gamblin, please allow this letter to confirm your request that we represent the interests of the City of Hardy Advertising and Promotion Commission as an intervener and claimant in the above referenced case. The execution and approval of this letter of agreement will represent our authority to proceed with your intervention and claim in the above described litigation. You will not be responsible for any attorney's fees or expenses. We will advance all expenses and deduct expenses from any recovery in this case. Any award of legal fees and expenses will be determined and approved by the court and will be paid from the overall recovery in this case. The attorneys representing the plaintiffs and interveners in this case include Trash Law Firm P.E.G. 1101 Garden Street, Little Rock, Arkansas, Williams and Anderson, PLC, they are also from Little Rock, the Fennell Firm from Rome, Georgia, Bird Law Firm, Deerfield Hills Road, Northwest Atlanta. If this accurately represents our agreement, please acknowledge your approval by your signature below.
Nanny, are you saying trash?
Trash.
Trash. T-H-R-A-S-H.
Trash.
And trash.
That's the H is silent.
I'm from South Africa, so you have to get over that. So
Okay, so,
I make a motion that we sign this agreement and send it to them and hire them.
I second that.
Thank you.
Discussion.
Madam Chair.
sure.
So you said that there's no cost to
Not to
us, A&P.
No, we don't pay any legal
We're
fees
just
to them.
on that list. They're
Yes.
going to represent us.
Yeah, usually what they do with these is when they settle, they deduct their costs and then distribute
Right.
the payment to the cities.
All in favor? Or any more discussion? Did you have-
We had a special meeting on this, didn't we?
We had a special meeting on, the first special meeting was to hire the procedure to hire an attorney for general expenses, general, what do you call it, legal services.
So that's separate from
That
that?
is separate from this.
So is that the Baker guy?
That's the Baker guy. And
Okay,
then
so we've
this
already
was the
hired
second.
him,
We've
right?
hired him, yes. Yes, so he went through all of this, he went through paperwork, checked everything out for us.
Is he a member of Thresh Law Firm?
No, he's not a member of Trash Law Firm, no.
Okay.
No, it's a different company.
How much money do we have budgeted to pay Baker for the next?
We budgeted for this year, I believe, 5,000. Let me check. Tell you.
I missed that somewhere over there.
I did give a budget out to everyone.
Legal fees. is
4,000, sorry, 4,000.
Okay. I guess I was confused on that because for some reason I was thinking you were hiring Baker to represent us in this Hotels.com.
No.
Because at the time, I had a question, would we need this guy, which now is Thresh, I guess, if the city had an attorney?
Yes.
I can't remember what you told me.
Yes, A&P attorneys are different from general legal services. Not all attorneys know the A&P regulations. That's why we hired an attorney that is familiar with A&P.
Do we know what the retainer fee was for that? How much have we spent so far, do we know?
For this
Or
year?
Mr. Baker?
For this year?
Yeah.
This is 2019, nothing yet until we...
So we're not, I mean, if we don't
For
use it.
2018,
Oh, 2000, okay.
okay, for 2018, we spent $1,577.60.
Okay.
Okay. But if the city had an attorney, we really wouldn't need Baker, would we?
We will still need Baker because the city attorney is not familiar with A&P laws and regulations. We have
It's not
come,
rocket science.
you think so? We have come up with attorneys, we've had attorneys in the city that could not give us advice on A&P laws and regulations. We had Holly Greenway, she didn't know much about it. We had Alex Bigger, he didn't know much about it. We had one previous to that, I don't remember his name. Whenever I approached them for advice on A&P stuff, they always told me go to Municipal League. So yes, we do need an A&P attorney.
Well,
Well-
I looked this up, excuse me, a little bit on this, and I think I would be in favor of what you want to do with Thresh. I think he's been working that lawsuit ever since 2009.
Yes, it's been going on for a long
Yeah,
time.
at that time, I couldn't, that's why I say I was confused, because I thought the
Yeah, 'cause
special
there were two.
meeting was to do that.
Well, initially that's what I thought too, but then it ended up being a two-step process.
So we've actually, A&P's got 2 lawyers now, if we approve this.
Yeah, this is only for the Hotels.com.
Right.
Yeah, and they will probably be contacting Mr. Baker instead of us directly.
Okay,
So
so-
that is just to handle the lawsuit. Once the lawsuit is settled, we don't have a contract with them then.
Okay. So she had a motion, did we, and,
I think that
Or
was
seconded?
approved, yes.
all right.
It's up to you.
Cruz,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Desai,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Gordon,
Yes.
Thoreau,
Yes.
and Gavin says yes. Motion is approved.
Sorry, who seconded that?
Who seconded that?
I do.
Okay, the next item, the A&P budget slash council budget. I'm gonna speak on this one, and then we'll let discussion take place. There's been a contention about it, but from looking at it from how it all happened, the biggest thing I believe is probably a misunderstanding of verbiage. I'm trying to put this in the best way where everybody can understand it, but the amount budgeted that we normally give to the city council, that is available for the city council. And I'm sure everybody's gonna pipe in, but I'll just say what I have to say about it first, and then you guys can go after it. But the money is there for the city council to use. It's not the A&P trying to alienate ourselves from the city at all. But what's come up is an issue with the attorney telling us how that money can be used. So whether the council, I don't know how you guys make your budgets and stuff, know that it's out there, but it has to be used, from what we understand, as like structural improvements for the parks. And then you can help me with how it all works. But in the past, we've received documentation of it being used for like toiletries and general expenses and different things that didn't apply to the parks. So that's where the issue came in. So really, we just need everybody to be on the same page, and it's being relayed to you, Mr. Thorough and Gordon, and you, Mr. Mayor, to where you know that it's there, okay? So that it's no longer an issue between the A&P and the city of not giving it to you. But it's just somehow you've got to work on your end of how to line item it or get it back to us so that it can be approved, okay? Because we've got the money, but if you say you're going to do something on the park, say Lowbird Park, you're going to add a structure or something, then you send us the bill, I believe is what, right? Or
I'd like to
we
interrupt
reimburse
you.
it.
I'd like to interrupt you there.
Okay.
When you say we got the money, it's actually sending the wrong message. Because we're budgeting this, we've budgeted
It's
what
not
we
in the
could.
budget.
Yeah, you cannot say we got the money there. The ordinance states that we can use the money for, and I read that the last time she read it at the meeting as well. General operations of the city is not paid by the A&P.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
so if there's capital expenses, capital structures, capital upgrade, then it needs to be brought to the commission first
Right.
for us to view it and if we have the funds.
Right.
And that's, once again, that's why, end of the meeting is when I requested financial reports.
Right.
To let everyone know what funds we have and how those funds have been allocated towards capital expenses. So
Right.
I think at this point, the $30,000 that we're giving was for parks and maintenance, not capital. That is what we cannot do, not because the attorney is telling us not to do that, it's because the act and the code and the ordinance say so. So we have to be very careful because the attorney cannot tell us what to do. He advises us what the law is.
Right, but to say that we
And-
can't help with the 30,000 is not
We don't want to
accurate.
set a figure, I'm sorry, we will not set a figure.
No, we won't.
We
set
cannot
it.
set a figure. The 30,000 was a set figure by the city that they wanted 35 at the time, we could not afford 35. That was set to help with general maintenance and operations. We cannot do that anymore.
Right, and as I stated at that meeting, it's not for routine maintenance. The subject came up about providing supplies for restrooms and that sort of thing, and cutting the grass and so on. Those are routine maintenance. So we have to have the others. If you have a roof leak and y'all repair it, bring it as a case-by-case item, capital improvement. But the routine maintenance is what we cannot do. And I know there's a fine line there, but if it's brought to us by the city, then we can always discuss it and either approve it or find that it fits the wrong category. It's not that we're saying that we can't provide some
What you're looking for,
funds,
Charles?
but we have to follow the regulations on it.
When did this newfound information on these regulations come to you
It's
and how?
actually-
No, I'm curious about, let me finish, ma'am, please.
Sure.
Well,
I'm saying
No,
something,
that's
please.
fine.
I'm real curious about the timeline,
This-
how the information came about, and I'd like to see the correspondence between Mr. Baker and the commission. We don't understand how, was that dumped on y'all and he picked Hardy out of the beautiful state of Arkansas to tell you you're doing this wrong, or was this information sought out? That's what I'm curious about.
Sure.
And we're trying to make a budget that's this thick, and that $30,000, we just need to know, can we use it? Because we inherited not only the normal spendings here, but we've got a $300,000 water tank
We know.
on top of it, but we've got $30,000 less to work with for all these little, little projects, you think. I understand the verbiage here. We don't want to, if we can't buy toilet paper, for God's sakes, we do not want to buy toilet paper with the money. But if there's a way to spend it someplace else with these other projects we inherited in the park, we need to know that we're able to spend that 30,000 or whatever it is. That's why we're here. That's what we want to know.
This question about the general maintenance has been an ongoing thing for years, as far as I recall. We did not have an attorney at the time, for sure. And the question did come up many times, and because there was confusion around that, we continued paying it. Billy, he's not here, but I don't know if Greg was there at the time. I had questioned those charges last year as well. No, in 2017. I had questioned the charges at that time, and because there was a confusion with the verbiage, I myself did not understand it. And I said, okay. I said, but this is getting used for other things, and I questioned the breakdown of the bills that they were giving us on a quarterly basis. I even asked about the truck, I asked about the porta potties and the bills and everything. But I was told, well, that's the way they've been doing it. Okay. We did not hire an attorney, but I was still talking to Mr. John Baker on a regular basis last year. That's why we have those fees. But we never officially hire him. And there were lots of questions over the phone, the majority of the time. But because of that confusion, I continued. And then he was going through all the, our bylaws, our A&P ordinance, to make sure we are in line with all of that. And I think that only got done, I don't remember, July, August, around there, I believe. And then everything was done step by step. So yes, minor expenses, major expenses came up eventually.
So you sought the information?
I saw the information long
From
ago,
him?
and that information was sought, if I'm not mistaken, by Mr. Dale Maddox as well, back in 2013 or 2012. So it's not something that came up this year or last year. It's been going on for almost 2012, or maybe even prior to that. I did find some of his paperwork, and I looked at it and I'm like, these are the questions I've been asking. But I wasn't handling all that at the time. So I didn't know, but I did. Going through the expenses and going through the bills, I did ask the questions. And if you talk to Billy, if he remembers, when we dropped the budget last year for 2018, I went in there and asked questions about that as well. So it's not like it just came up all of a sudden. No, we did not. We just did not have the right. I believe I asked Mr. Bigger about it. I believe I did ask him about it as well.
How come it wasn't decided to take care of this last year and not after the election of this year?
Oh, no, it wasn't just after the election.
It's a November 26th right here.
Yes, that's right, because we are still talking to Mr. Baker. We did only hire him, I think, shortly after that. Because...
Was he hired previous, what was his hire?
He's been helping us all along, and I don't have, I might have to.
Was he helping you in 17?
Yes.
But he didn't figure it out for last year's budget under the other
No, we did not talk to him
administration?
about that in 17 because we did not hire him. He was not hired. And that's when he spoke to Raymond Hicks, who was a chairperson, and to me on conference call. He's like, look, I've been going with the flow and giving you guys advice, but you guys will have to officially hire an attorney that knows A&P laws. Because we always went to Mr. Bigger, and then he would say, go to Municipal League. So yes, we do have bills from way back. October 25th, 2017. It's not to do with this issue, but I have correspondence because, you know, you're wanting to know if we just hired him, and for this, no. In 2017, I had sent a letter, an email about copyright and all of that. And I have correspondence to say that we had talked to him in 2017. That was October. Prior to that, Mr. Dale Maddox was talking to Mr. Baker. Am I right about that?
I think so.
I think so.
That's right.
I don't have Mr. Maddox's paperwork in here. But when I started corresponding with him, I have that paperwork here. So we have been corresponding with him since 2000.
I understand that.
Probably 13 or 14.
You see what it looks like.
It can look like it, yes, I understand.
I'm not being combative, but what I'm
Yes.
saying is, rather than eliminate that from our budget, why did the commission not want to get together and say, hey, we can work this out, verbiage, and change the verbiage on it, and we wouldn't have the situation where all of us have sat in meeting after meeting trying to figure this
So
out.
you change the verbiage of the act, because this.
Not that,
the
I'm not trying to
verbiage
change
is-
the law,
the
I'm
verbiage
saying
on
that
the
what the money was
ordinance
being
is from the
charged for.
act.
I can read, I understand
Yeah.
what the law says. I'm saying the verbiage, every one of us understand that it's verbiage. There's a ton of other places it could be spent, but when we get the letter, there's not gonna, this looks like you're not gonna get nothing, so make your budget without it.
At this point, won't be able to do that.
So you made y'all's new budget not to include the $30,000 to the city.
We have to look at priority as well, and the ordinance also says that, and I can pull it out and read it if you want, but
I've got all of it
You've
here,
got
thank
that.
Mimi, I don't have the budget in front of me, but what did we do different last year that we're changing for this year to where we don't have any difference?
The mortgage of the building, the $50,000 that we have to pay for this building, will be due in October.
Do we already
So
have?
our budget there is already on there for the building. Prior to that, for the last 2 years, we had saved the money to pay for the building. We managed to save that money and keep it in a separate account. But we don't have that money anymore to pay $50,000. Beginning of the year last year, I had $50,000 to pay for 2018, October.
And not only that, but our P.E.G tax revenue
Yes.
has dropped due to restaurants closing in town. The lodgings are still open, but we've had restaurants closed, and so that has cut into our income. And Mark, we were working on this budget prior to the end of December, and when the city was talking about theirs and discussing it, so on and so forth, I did speak to the council, and at that time told them that we wouldn't be able to put this $30,000 in. And to go way back, it was just kind of decreed long before we came on this commission. And again, it had nothing whatsoever to do with the election or anything like that. So we want to make that very clear. We're looking strictly at our financial situation.
You do realize that this is an entity within the city.
Yeah,
Y'all are not a separate,
we know that.
We do know that.
Mark, can I interrupt?
Yes, sir.
I looked up the thing that you quoted at City Council. Has to do with use of funds collected. And it's, I don't know where you got that. It's 25-75606. And I'm reading it completely different. It says, the taxes shall not, do you have a copy of this, Vice Chair?
I have.
You have
here.
one? The taxes shall not be used for general capital improvements within the city or county. For the cost associated, cannot be used for the cost associated with the general operation of the city or county. Cannot be used for general subsidy of any civic group or the Chamber of Commerce. It says, this is sort of long, but I've got to read it.
What page is that
Funds.
you're looking at?
It doesn't have a page number on it, but it's 2675-607 section. It says, funds credited to the city advertising and promotion fund pursuant to this subchapter may be used, spent, or pledged by the commission in addition to all other purposes prescribed in this subchapter on or for the construction, reconstruction, repair, maintenance, and it doesn't specify what kind of maintenance.
I'm not sure which one.
Improvement, equipping, and operation of public recreation facilities in the city or the county where the city is located, if the city owns an interest in the center or facility, including but not limited to facilities constituting city parks, and also for the payment of the principal interest on and fees and expenses in connection with bonds as provided in this subchapter in the manner as shall be determined by the commission.
Okay, that's for class city, that's for cities of the first class. We are not a first class city.
Okay, well, I didn't see any designation on that.
I'm not sure what you're
I
looking
wonder-
at, because that doesn't look like the same thing that I got from the attorney.
With the paperwork you gave us from your attorney, from our attorney, also says, with the highlighted right above it, that any city of the first, it's talking about a first-class city as well. Now, I understand we're a second-class city, which are we?
Okay, that there, I clarified that with the attorney. This whole act applies to first and second class cities.
It does not say, a lawyer would know that, it just says
Do you have
first
a
class.
copy of the one that applies to second-class cities?
This applies to first and, the whole act, the whole ordinance applies to first and second class cities.
So you're
Did
saying...
you get the full set?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm mainly looking at your highlighted stuff.
Well, yeah, that was because she was reading it, but going from what I discussed in detail with the attorney, the complete ordinance applies to first and second class cities, and in sections where it applies to first class city only, it says first class city. So that section...
Such as B1A right above what you've highlighted here.
Let me get you that.
So that paragraph on what you can use them for is completely opposite for a
That
second-class
is to
city?
do with bonds. What you're reading is to do with bonds.
Mr. Best would like to say something too.
I'm not sure what you're looking at, Charles. Did you say 26-75-607? All right, that says convention center projects / bonds. So I'm not sure where you got that from.
I can't remember either.
Yeah, it's not,
But back
did
to
you
my
print what I
question,
sent? Because this, what you're reading,
you think it's completely opposite for second-class cities?
there's second class cities on act, and he brought our attention to that act, which
we
is
can't use-
26-75-606.
We can't use our money to maintain our parks and recreational facilities?
I'm going to read this here. B1A applies to first class city. B1A applies to first class city. The rest applies to second and first class cities. That's how it is.
Where does that come from, ma'am?
From the attorney.
But that doesn't make sense, actually, because you've got first class
It's in the
and everything under
ordinance.
it.
It's in the city ordinance as well. The council members set the city ordinance back in 2001, and every ordinance that you look at shows the same thing.
Nope.
And I think Monica gave you copies of those ordinances.
So what you're saying, in spite of what she says, we probably don't have the money to give.
When we look at finances, you'll know. So I'll explain finances, and then you'll know.
Well, I called Mr. Sy on Thursday, because I'm looking at the budget with the mayor, and we have about a $35,000 shortfall for projects. $15,000 of it is for this gymnasium, for this civic center, to put the lights in the street of the stage and things in. There's a grant for $15,000, it requires another $15,000 to match it. And we don't need to be paying that, so there's $15,000 that you pay for right there. And then we looked at the Parks project. Lowbird Park is a great example. The Lowbird Park project is a $45,000 sum of money the city has to pay, and it gets matched with another $45,000 that's going to be given to us when we do. I say that there's some capital improvements within that will fall into the auspices of what they're saying they can pay for. So another $20,000 there easily could probably be, and I'm guessing, don't quote me on the exact numbers, but I think we have probably another $20,000 of expenses this year that can be capital improvements that fall into what Charles and what Mrs. Sy and what Mr. Burrell were saying. So my point was to them is to be thinking about, we need $35,000. Okay, now, here's the difference. If they could get, the city, I'm speaking for the city as a treasurer, I apologize. As the city, if we get to 35,000, we will not be expending the 35,000 out of our funds for that. We'll use that on general maintenance, upkeep, mowing, and other expenses. All we've done is flip the expenses. I think that's what Ms.
Thank you.
was trying to.
Right, and that sounded right, but you can, and no offense, you confused me with all due respect, that you were contradicting that, saying
I
there
don't
was
want to
no money.
discuss figures until the end.
But
Yeah.
here's the point. We need to, as two entities, we must get to an agreement
Yes.
on a scheduled budget. So when I say I need 35, if they agree to say we can give you 3250, then we go back and we budget to that.
Right.
Whatever it is, I don't know what the number is, you know what I'm saying? But we need to have those numbers out in front of us
Right.
before we leave tonight probably, or we're never going to get to a budget, to a final budget for the city. So I apologize for that. We had to know that.
Okay. Okay, so,
Madam,
yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we would table this budget until the financial secretary can come up with her financial statement and report, and then at that time, we may have to appeal or amend the budget to accommodate such things.
So we're just gonna table this until after the financial,
Yes. We could spin our wheels all night on this one.
Should have done financial.
I gotta have a second. That was my motion.
I don't think you really.
I didn't
need a motion
understand the
for up
motion.
row. I mean, I think she can.
What we're debating.
Move that at her discretion.
Yeah.
Whatever.
okay, moving on. Mr. Thorough, you had a question that was submitted to me
Yeah.
about the Welcome Center?
On the Welcome Center, I know that y'all had talked about it. I'd just like to see if we can expedite it in some way. You know, we're not going to solve all these things tonight. But if we can have a little bit of discussion so I have an idea of where we can start with it. I think the last thing that I recall was they were going to have an office or something in this one room, and that needed to be cleared out.
Yes, we will have an office in there. Up here in the front, we will have a center, but it will not be called a Welcome Center. Welcome Centers have to be approved by the state.
Oh, okay.
It's already been checked into that there's one too close. We can have an information center.
Information center, okay.
And it will happen somewhere in the future. We have other items and other works going on with the Civic Center that do take priority to that. But it is,
Possible.
down the road, it is possible. So, and it would be here in the front, in this room.
And there was also
But it will
discussion.
not take up this whole room, because there is a proposal that's being prepared to be presented. I don't know if they'll have it in February or March, but that would also be in this room if we approve it. But yes, we can have an information center, and yes, it will happen, not real soon, because we have other things that take priority.
Okay.
But I'd like to make a suggestion, though. If we can start working out here, you know, paint the walls and buff the floors and stuff like that, but we need help for that. And I don't have any contacts with things like that. Paint the wall, yeah, would be fine. So I think we as a commission needs to
Get a
need
plan.
to make a combined effort and make a plan and start working on that basic stuff at least.
Now, there was also talk that the Art Guild or something, they said that they possibly would use the volunteers, but the exception is that they wanted to maybe sell their wares, or, I mean, it could be anybody, but
We've already covered that and voted it down.
it voted it down.
I think it had to do something with it being a grant thing.
Yes, if we rent this on a long-term basis, monthly basis, then we lose the chances for grant for this building.
Right, but if we say that they are volunteers, like everybody else in the community,
But they want to
If they
sell
man
the
it.
stuff.
You also have to look into the hours that an information center, if you're going to be an official information center, look into the hours that it should be kept open. And there was some discussion at some point, half a day for 5 days a week. Well, Saturday and Sunday are days when we have a lot of visitors into Hardee, a lot of tourists in, which would be more likely to come into an information center. So there's a number of things that will have to be considered, and we will have to do a little more in-depth discussion and planning.
And we do need to keep moving with that.
Okay, well,
But yes.
it can't be a welcome center, it's an information center from now on.
Tourist information center.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of state laws to call it a welcome
It'll be-
center.
You know, we've been criticized by one of our
Yes,
local
we know.
critics for not having a plan for the civic center, and we still don't have a plan as far as I know. And we need to set some goals on, when are we gonna have a tourist
When are we
information?
gonna have that
We
sign up?
need more people to
Yeah.
help out,
We need more
Charles.
people to help
Well,
Charles.
You know, it's fine to be criticized, but then nobody wants to help.
Does
Yeah.
the information center have to be manned all the time, or is it a situation where this area could be shut off and somebody walks in and the information is just here? But it's secured
You
where
mean
they couldn't?
without someone in here as a week greeter?
Does it have to be, I'm just curious what y'all had planned. Does it have to be manned?
It's pretty good to have someone.
you have 7 hours.
Yeah,
usually
I think it-
I don't think that we would want it open that way. That could lead to problems.
No.
But we'd have to
No.
think about that.
Okay.
Jeff can stay here all the time.
This agenda is pretty long, so
After working his night shift.
the
Okay.
information center plan might not be the one to do tonight.
Oh,
But
okay.
in our
I just-
future
we can do it.
meetings, we do need to work harder on getting
I just wanted to
stuff
bring it
like
up.
this
that's all.
going. Yeah, absolutely, I don't mind bringing it up, I'm just,
I think we need a planning committee.
all right, the
I think
next.
Bruce needs to be the chair.
The next item is the Hearts of Hardee. Mimi, did you, as far as I know, because I have a bill here for 3 heart trees that have already been done. Because we, and you'll tell me if I'm wrong, but I think we had approved getting the
We
hearts
did not
done.
approve for the job to go
didn't
ahead.
approve.
We did not approve for the job to go ahead at all. We brought that up in December as well. Plus, another thing, Mr. Bernie called me about it.
Okay,
He's only made 2 trees,
okay.
not the 3rd one. He said he was told to put a hold on it. But we are not going to just go ahead and approve this without knowing where the trees are going to be even installed and stuff like that.
Okay.
We discussed that at the last meeting.
And in regards to this, there was an MOU that was supposed to have been gotten from the lawyer or something written up to give to the other people?
No memorandum of understanding regarding the tree of hearts.
Am I
I'll
reading
read,
more?
okay, let me read the last minutes.
Let's see that.
Laura, do you have new information on where you're wanting these placed? We need
As
some
discussed
more information on it.
in December and everything, this MOU, because Nimia said that, the lawyer said that we needed an MOU of understanding of this. Because I had gotten permission from Cena Walker and Mark Herring to put it in their building, or on the property of their buildings. And at the last meeting, it was my understanding that once I got the MOU, because I didn't know what parameters of like how long of day, what do they want, for X number of years. I didn't know what the next numbers of years were. So it's supposed to be an MOU gotten from the lawyer, and then I was going to take those MOUs and have them signed by the prospective people. I've got no MOUs of anything.
I'm going to interrupt you. I'm going to read what's in the minutes and what was discussed, and then the minutes was drawn up. Commissioner Desai stated, this was December 17th, under old business. Commissioner Desai stated that she had discussed the use of building a structure on donated property. She stated that the attorney advised that a legal document stating the legal right to the space for a number of years would be required. Commissioner Al Smith took an action to get the legal description of the property and work the document needs with the donor.
Right, I don't have.
It doesn't need this is not about a memorandum of understanding.
That's what I was told to get, or have the information. You were supposed to get the MOU, I was going to have them sign it, because that's where we had said, okay, that would be a great idea.
Do any of you remember MOU
No,
regarding
we
this?
didn't. We never said anything about
No,
memorandum of
Ms. Smith, I'm
understanding.
going to explain this to you again. When it came up, when I brought this up and I said, this is what the attorney advised us, because we are not using city property.
Correct.
We are using somebody else's property.
Right.
We need the permission.
And we didn't
Let me
have-
finish, ma'am, let me finish. And that you needed to get the property details, like the lot number or whatever description of the properties.
So you want to
And then
elect-
that was supposed to be forwarded to the attorney so that he can draw up a
That was never
contract.
told to me at that meeting, Ms. Desai. It never was. I was just, it's like, I was supposed to get permission from them. I already had the permission. I was expecting a letter from the lawyer to say how many years or whatever. And I'd have them undersign it and sign it.
I shall read this again.
I read it. I understand.
She stated that the attorney advised that a legal document stating the legal right to the space for a number of years would be required. Commissioner Al Smith, that is you, took an action to get the legal description of the property and work the document needs with the donor. I did not type the minutes.
Is there any discussion on the Hearts of Hardy? Because, I mean, when she had brought it to us, as, you know, this was several months back, she brought it about putting in different locations and then putting the padlocks. You know, people could purchase a padlock, put it on there, it's called Hearts of Hardy, kind of had a good ring to it. We had all thought that it was a great idea, as long as she was able to find different places for it. There's been talk of having, you know, some, you know, one here, or, you know, even in different spots, but, I mean, we had agreed, you know, and liked the idea, so is this something that we want to continue to help her advance with this? Yes, ma'am.
Now, as I understand it, it's something that could be displayed possibly in some of the parks too, maybe Thompson Park. There's a talk about, you know, the Pocket Park where the boardwalk mural is. And maybe some of that could be incorporated into those projects.
I have one question though. Do you know how the base is? How is the base going to be connected to the ground or bolted to the ground and attached, cemented? So the owners need to know that too, that it's going to be kind of
It's somewhat permanent
permanent.
until someone cuts it down.
Yes, yes.
Whatever.
I have a question for Laura Smith, please. The material itself is made out of what? I was at that meeting because that was brought up on the other thing. What was the material made out of?
Rebar.
Okay. And I don't remember this, but the locks, anybody put a lock on it, where the locks will be sold? Is that a way to make?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Who will be selling the locks?
My idea was potentially, if we ever have this open, I mean, it'd be great for this place to sell locks, you know, that they could take, I mean,
Right.
but I mean, if this place isn't going to do it, then businesses probably should be selling locks.
There we go.
But, I mean, that's my opinion, but, I mean, I don't know, I think it was a great idea, it was brought to us several months ago. I mean, Laura, if,
And
now if you're able
we
to.
go back out to we had the things that were having it out here at the Civic Center, there was a time that said no, go back into it or whatever, but there was in public, you know, wanting to get back to the Civic Center, that they would drive down here, and instead of having it scattered throughout the town, just have it with Lawrence Wall
Yeah,
and
it's a
Okay,
partnership
in-
project with my history wall.
Let's move on. Laura, it still stands that a verbal permission from the owners of the property is not sufficient.
I understand that.
There will be no memorandum of understanding. There is no need for a memorandum of understanding for this.
Then what do you want me to get from them?
You have to get the legal description of their property so that It's all in the agreement. It's got to be a legal document because that is a permanent fixture on each business owner's
And then,
premises.
okay, and like I said, there's also public opinion that has been brought back to the Civic Center again. And again, we have 2 spaces that have been talked about previously, that have come down previously. But right there in that middle section right there, be easily enough gotten to put in there with ease, the trees and the wall. Or up by the little depot. So that, again, is back on the table. So I'm confused. I just want to get this poor guy paid so that he can finish the last tree and be done with it. We can hose the things here, deciding on whether we want them here or wherever.
Since we're using other people's properties, we have to have contracts drawn up. There has to be legal documents to
I'm not
cover
going to
us.
draw up the contracts.
Sorry?
I'm not the one that draws up the contract.
I told you, you get the legal description from the owners of the properties and I submit that to the
I was
attorney.
told to get permission from them, and I didn't understand that I didn't get latitude.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so I want to make a motion that we go ahead and pay the gentleman for the 2 hearts of hardy trees. Because if we have them in storage, we can find where to put them, because we know we want to put them somewhere. But in my opinion, we need to get the guy paid, because whether it was in the minutes or not, but somehow we had led her on to continue with getting those done. And so if we all think it's,
How much were the trees each?
we would need to approve $1,000 tonight. They're $500 each.
Looks like 1,500 to me on that.
But he's only done 2, and I would say not to do the other one.
I said,
To just
no.
do
The
the 2.
total of that, what we're looking at?
Yeah.
Has he done 2 or has he done 3?
Trees.
done 2.
They took the whole
He's
top
done
out of the
2.
third one. It was like the first
No,
one.
do you have a photograph of what he's made or something?
Yes, I do.
That would be great.
Well, see, that's something else that you gotta adjust your budget. We have it in there?
So I have a motion on the table. Does anyone want to second it for discussion? It's,
I'll second it. What? What?
we'll have her read the mission statement there.
Okay, now we can have discussion.
That's what, 6, 7 feet tall?
Now, so as I understand, if we pay for these, the A&P owns them, correct?
Anybody else want to see them?
And so,
Did you want to see them?
oh, that's cute.
And where you going to store this?
So it doesn't really take
I
up a
think
big
we
space, I mean,
legal
it's-
document.
what is it, about
Really.
2 or 3 feet? Something like
6
that?
foot tall.
6 foot, your motion was to pay for it, put it in storage.
Say about-
Because
We need to also make a motion.
Until we
to get the
find
legal
a place.
documents, the legal property
Somewhere at
information from those the owners. So we can get this moving.
that's fine. You guys go ahead and let's discuss that. That's fine. But we got to figure something out to keep,
You wouldn't
to
put
get
my
this
sign
done.
there either. Any other discussion? Yeah?
What other questions do you guys have on it?
So we would, if we paid for them, we would take possession of them and bring them in here or display them for now or something. The A&P would own them. What we do with them at that time is fine, but we would have to make sure that when we get to our budget area, then we might have to adjust it so that,
Yes, there's a lot of adjustments.
very sorry, having one
I'm
line
sorry.
item.
I wish
This
we
is
had
just-
back into the minutes again when she first brought it up.
I did. I read it then as well, guys.
Where did the confusion come to where Laura thought that it was approved to have these
Really,
made?
there was no confusion because in November, October, whenever we put that on, we said contingent upon space last year. It was specified that contingent upon space.
But not about
Yeah,
money?
and she went ahead and got the job done and brought the bill back in October, I think.
Okay. So if we don't want to continue with the Hearts of Hardy, we can turn this motion down. It's,
Yeah, let's take a vote.
No, what I'm saying, guys, it's not that we don't want to do the job or anything, but let us, because we're feeling sorry, I guess I feel sorry too, but it was stated clearly, I'm going to say it again, it was stated very clearly, we did not, you to check all the minutes, We did not make a motion to say, go ahead and get the trees done. We did not.
Now we did.
Well, now the trees are done. Okay, fine, I understand that. But then at the last meeting, I explained the advice given to us. We need a legal description of those owners so that we can draw up a contract, time frame, and all of that.
Right. Right now, we're going to decide if we're
So,
going
yes.
to buy them or not buy them.
Right, we
If
can
we
do
buy
that.
them, A&P owns them.
We have to
And we can
also,
determine where they go,
Yes.
possibly with the city help or not.
we also have to determine who's going to pay the cost of cementing it, because it's going to be cemented. That's not included in that.
Right now, they look like they're on a stand.
Yeah, but it is made to be cemented.
Right. So they can be set on the floor
Yeah. And the
right
own-
at this moment.
The owners need to know that too. The owners of
Right.
these properties need to know that.
Right, or
We
the
ought to
city.
make sure, you know.
Are they talking about putting it on the sidewalk down there?
No, we haven't made that decision yet.
Okay, she was, yeah. One, she had gotten permission from Mark Herring to put it out where that his warehouse is, by the railroad tracks.
Oh, okay.
And one is Sina Walker's property. But you know, verbal permission is not sufficient. I'm sorry, we're doing city business.
Okay, so we're gonna take a vote. You guys can, vote either way on it, but at least we've,
In the motion, just so I understand it, Ms. Gamlin, how you've got it captured is to pay for the two you have, stop work on the second one, do not pay for the third one, and to store the units here until you have a decision on what you're gonna do.
but Lori, we would need you, we need to know where they're going to go
Well, again,
if this gets approved.
that's
If
fine,
it
I
gets
can
approved.
do that, and Sina and Mark are still willing to do it, so I will give the longitude and latitude numbers.
Okay. And that would be handled separate than what we're doing right now.
Yes, I will also need what you want specifically. You might want to make me a checklist, so I have everything dotted and T's and crossed for the next meeting.
Okay, because this one was your passion, and so you
Well,
know where you want it.
Party. I mean, it's a marketing tool that you can all use and benefit from, and it's been 2 years in the making, and it's ridiculous. And yes, I had the guy go ahead and make a prototype so y'all can see it.
Okay.
And again,
Yeah.
if this decides to go back to with the wall, the doors joint, and it comes back to the civic center, then there's still not a problem.
Okay.
Because that is on your property, and we won't need an MOU. So y'all need to decide what it is you want.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead and do the voice.
Sorry, who made the motion?
Ms. Thoreau made the motion, and Mr. Thoreau seconded the X's. No, I guess it's not actually his motion.
Wilson?
Yes.
I didn't hear you.
Yes.
Thank you. Smith?
Yes.
Gordon?
Yes.
Desai?
Yes.
What?
Yes, sorry. I'm busy writing.
Prue?
Yes.
Thoreau?
Yes.
Gamblin?
Say no, I don't care.
No. Go ahead and laugh.
It don't matter.
This is not, never mind. Motion approved.
Motion approved. All right, Laura, do you need one that's revised for 8,000, or do you want her invoice that she has?
Wherever you
It
got
would
it.
be advisable so that he can change his records as well.
Okay. Can you get us a thing for $1,000?
Yep.
And then, your,
Cancel the third as far as.
yes, cancel the 3rd,
Yeah.
but to proceed, we'll need the locations and stuff like that to continue.
And who do I need to hand it into so I can have it tomorrow?
The invoice, Ms. Desai.
I can promise the check will be made tomorrow. Mr. Gregg will be doing that, so.
I'll do whatever you need me to do.
Okay.
By Wednesday for sure, I'm not telling you.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, the next agenda item, Ms. Desai, is the pretzel truck.
Oh. Well, I like the pretzels. Did you guys like it?
I did.
The pretzels are really good.
Okay, so what did you want me to tell about the pretzel truck?
There was an issue brought up from Mr. Thorough with questions regarding it, as to what exactly happened with the permits, and just, I don't know if it's clarification on the situation or how it was resolved, but we'll let you guys go from there.
Well, I think the city has a issue with the, I guess it's temporary trailers. We do have an ordinance. And I don't know if the permits have been, given to the city financial basis, or I guess, I don't
Okay.
understand. I mean, I think the permits is like $100 for
I have no
temporary.
idea. We are the commission is responsible for renting out space here for events.
Okay.
There's a city ordinance regarding food trucks.
Yes, there is one, but the commission is responsible for enforcing the commission codes.
But there's a
They're
city
not
ordinance
responsible-
against it.
They're not responsible for enforcing the city codes. The city should have their code enforcement officers doing that. We rent space out here. That's our responsibility to get the rent. And since that's an A&P tax collector, I have his state tax permit, which he pays for that, and he paid us A&P taxes. And that when it comes to city ordinances, the A&P is not responsible for enforcing city
You
ordinances.
fall under the city
We
ordinance.
fall under this, the A&P does not fall under the city ordinance. The A&P has its own ordinance.
For what?
That's
Temporary?
No, I'm not talking about the temporary permits, I'm talking about the ordinance. We have enforced, A&P has enforced the ordinance, collect the A&P taxes.
Right, I understand
The civic center, the A&P manages the civic center, so we rented space.
Right, so,
So that's as far as he paid us rent.
right.
The guy did not come into town to set up business on a permanent basis or anything. He came because there was an event, and that event was not an A&P.
And I think that's what, there was
But
a
it's not an A&P event.
a misunderstanding on the city's part that, it's like Rick's Barbecue where they had a
Right.
temporary
Yeah, but-
trailer until they could get their permanent structure.
Yeah, but he wanted to set up business.
But as I understand, what you're saying is they paid a rental spot.
Yeah, they paid
And
rental
plus,
spot.
since they sold food, you collected the A&P tax. Now,
So, I
the
took
question
care-
I would be
Yeah.
asking is, were they supposed to also pay for the temporary business license?
As far as I recall,
And I think we need to find out
well, as far
for
as
any future.
you were on the council when the fees were, and I don't need to discuss this, but I'm going to. As far as I recall, the council had waived permit fees for any vendors that came out for events.
I don't know, I'd have to look at the notes.
There was discussion, and I don't have the city minutes. I have a copy of one of the minutes, actually. I'm not sure if it's in this file. Let me check.
But I don't know if the
Okay.
city has waived
This
those.
goes back, there was discussion
permits
about
or
it. There was discussion about it back in April 4th, 2017. And I think that was before Mr. Gray. Events ordinance. Alderwoman Smith wanted to check to see if every vendor was to purchase a business license.
There you go.
Discussion ensued about what was required for vendors during events and who is responsible for what. I don't
know
have
what
minutes.
happened at
I
that
don't know, but I believe
I think we have to
they
address that.
They did waive, I don't have the minutes or the ordinance, because I could not find it. I think you all know Miranda Hobbs was the recorded treasurer then, so I couldn't find minutes. But I do remember that they did vote to waive the permit fees for any vendors that came out on events, for the simple reason that those vendors are having to pay rent or space
Okay, here's
and all of that, so.
Like when they had
That's up to the city. Now, the city
the big
wants us to
events
do
when they
that.
have, I think, Mark
Yeah.
is doing their food booth and stuff like that inside the building.
Sorry, who?
Well, whoever has their popcorn and hot dogs and stuff.
That's,
Do they pay the A&P tax?
we've never called them, so I don't know. they haven't paid
Are
them.
you
But
talking
no,
about
Yes.
that's a non,
Are you talking about the
Yes.
event that they were in
Yeah.
the big
Well,
room
yeah,
with
and
the
Charles-
popcorn machine?
Yeah,
That's Main Street of Hardy.
Main Street
Right.
Hardy,
They
yeah.
have no connection with us.
but they
Yes.
sell food and then that's an A&P tax, it's not,
But
correct?
that is, how did that work? They waived that because it was non-profit organization?
Waive that
or
because
something
they
to
are a
that effect?
nonprofit.
Okay,
It's
well,
not a,
I don't know.
and mind you, when I see any food trucks that we're not aware of at events, like at the powwow,
Right,
I did go there as an A&P commissioner
and did you
who
collect tax?
enforces who is responsible, all of us here are
Right.
responsible for enforcing the A&P Commission regulations. I went out there and I first asked the vendor if she is a vendor, and and I knew that she is because I knew that she paid.
Oh, they're just set up there.
She set up, and that she had paid the power off to set up as well.
Right,
Which was $100 that they paid the power to set up. I checked her state permit, I went to the tent, I went to the back instead of the front so that the customers don't know what's going on. And I asked her questions, if she's collecting taxes. She says yes, all her food includes taxes. I asked her if she's collecting state and A&P taxes, and she said yes, she is.
okay, so they paid, but they didn't,
Who didn't?
the pretzel.
Pretzel guy paid?
They paid A&P.
He
They
paid.
didn't pay tax, okay,
Yeah,
so,
he paid taxes. He paid
All right.
rent for
All
3
right,
days, and
okay.
he paid the taxes.
Mr. Peter, you had your hand raised. Did you have something to say?
First of all, you all took the oath of office, correct? Yes or no?
yes,
That oath of office, can you say it back to me? You're sworn to uphold the laws of the country, the state, and the city. And you must remember that you are under the city. So anything that applies in the city applies to A&P. And if you have people not doing that, then you better think
He's gonna shout
twice
his
about what
band
you're
from
doing.
here.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Now, do you guys want me to?
well, we can't go back and tell,
No.
you owe
No,
a
I'm not
business
asking about that.
license. But I'm
not
thinking
asking- no,
future
no.
stuff.
I'm not asking about that. I'm going to, let's see. I contacted the attorney after I read the newspaper article, and I asked the attorney about it. I explained to him why.
Did the A&P vote for you to do that? Because if not, you're doing it illegally.
Sir, thank you.
Was there a vote for you guys to have her call and ask the attorney? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Jeez, you know what?
Sir.
I don't think we need him here.
Just continue.
We don't. City business permit. I read the article to him.
So she's running
He's
the A&P and
A&P.
nobody else is, huh?
Can you call a recess,
Do
please?
you think we could get into the quiet? Well,
Please call a recess.
Boy, she's running the A&P. You're just sitting there going, mm-hmm. Can't even run the meeting.
Sir, this is my first one, and I'm trying my best. Thank you.
If we could, I think. just
I
move
think
on.
the
think
situation,
he
I think
makes-
the question's been answered. Bruce, you had a question, it was answered. Mimi, you did a fine job answering it.
Thank you.
And we're gonna continue on to the lower seven.
I will send everything in email to you guys.
Actually, Easter egg concept.
She wouldn't believe that.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, we're not talking Easter egg thing?
She waived that because she needs to get more information on it.
Okay.
Oh, the Easter egg hunt?
Well, on the bathroom trailer down there, my only question is, was the A&P put any funds toward that? Do we know?
We paid for
Anybody?
that. We paid for the trailer,
You paid for the trailer. Now, how much was that?
$7,500. And I believe we paid for the transportation of that too.
That's right.
And how much was that?
I
Don't
don't
you know?
remember the cost offhand.
I think it
It
was
was something like $1,500 came from El Paso, Texas.
Yeah, give or take. I'll have to look up that. But the rest of
Okay,
it.
so you have receipts
Yes,
of
we do.
$7,500 for the trailer and, you said maybe 1,500, I ain't know, year, for transportation, something like that. Okay. Well, my only possible concern is, the city may be doing some stuff down at the park. There's the pavilion and other things that might have to be adjusted. And I think with the budget, we'll have to settle that at the end of the,
So what type of adjustments are you talking about?
It's not, we're out of code with where it's at.
Yeah, what
Okay.
are we gonna do when the floods come?
yeah.
Okay, then we'll discuss that.
Yeah, that's
Well,
a
it's
huge
it's up to the
problem.
city, but I wanted to understand if the A&P owned it, or if it's donated to the
The
parks and
A&P.
the city owns it.
The AP
or-
owns it.
Well, that's good. I mean, the city thought they were gonna have to deal with it. It's gonna be expensive to move it.
All right, so. we
It's
can-
gonna,
Or
it's
have
gonna take
a
a,
means
We'll work
to
on
move
getting
it.
it moved
Yeah.
then, we'll move it.
Yeah.
We'll talk to them and we'll discuss it and we'll work on that then.
Okay.
Because the AP owns it and I agree. If the AP owns it, then they should bear the cost of that.
Yeah.
it's a flood
And you do have
situation. It'll move and wipe out and then you're in trouble.
Yes.
You do have record of it for the receipt or whatnot. for
Oh,
it.
yes.
So you may have to produce that at one time.
Sure. But the city's got copies as well.
Well, I'd have to look. I don't want to look, but.
Because we paid the city. The city.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
on the council, but I didn't,
Right, yeah.
you know, I had to do some
Yeah.
research to
The
find
city had to
out.
pay
but-
for it to go pick it up and then we reimburse the city. But I can give you all the paperwork. You can take note. Do you want to come and pick it up or you want to leave it at City Hall?
Can you email it? Can you photocopy it?
Yeah, I should be able to. I can scan that, yes.
Or get it down to the city hall somehow?
Yeah, I can do that.
Whatever.
That's not a topic of any ill feeling. We had discussed that and thought we were
No,
gonna have to deal with it. It's a problem,
We don't
yeah.
want any ill feelings.
Yeah.
But
No, we
don't
want
need-
A&P
we don't
to
need
help.
disruptions, you know.
And that's what it's here. Laura, can I have you act into the guest comments?
No, just this one right here. I thought that it was able to be moved out in case of a flood. It could be kept up and all that kind of thing too. It was able to be moved out.
Yeah, well, I don't know
The city-
if my truck can move it.
The
so I don't know.
situation is, and we thought that at first, and it was discussed at great length, that thing is, there's not a vehicle that the city owns that can move it at all.
Can't
It's so
hook
heavy.
onto it with a pickup all the time.
It's a biggie.
It's gonna take Dale's or somebody to come in there, yeah. And if we do get a flood, and you know, and with the fire department, we get above 13 feet, we start worrying.
Yeah.
And if the ground is wet like it is, there's no way. And if it goes to floating, knocking out some of them cheap houses down here on the river, we're in
And
trouble.
that would have to be done fairly
Moment's
soon
notice
because,
if
no,
the river
April, I've
flows.
seen it flood down there,
Yeah.
and we're not very far.
That's-
It's,
Are you
the biggest one we had was the 19th of March.
Is somebody requesting that we make the move with the trailer?
No, not at this moment in time. It's just something that I wrote down and saying, oh, yeah.
I would make a motion that be talked about pretty quickly.
Yes, that's what I will do too.
I
Yeah,
was gonna say,
we
if
do
you-
that.
if you're gonna do that, you're gonna have to
Uh-huh.
have some money to do it, so you need to have a motion or something in this meeting now, or in this meeting, or special meeting, so.
You want to make a motion then?
Am I making a motion as to,
That we need to look into getting.
Oh, absolutely.
moved, and what-
I make a motion, we look into that, having the trailer moved to save everybody
Or
here.
at least budget.
You gotta have a place to put it too as well.
I second that and then can we probably do another motion or something or discuss this and then I can make a motion to where to move it?
I think once you make the motion that you're gonna move, it's up to you, whether you wanna move, as long as it's.
Oh,
as long
okay.
as the city's
As
okay
long as-
with it, I guess, that's what's the biggest issue.
Coordinate with
Amend
city
this motion,
issues.
move it.
Okay, so
Yeah.
anyone got a second for?
I second
Oh,
that.
she seconded, okay.
Sorry.
All in favor?
Who seconded?
Wait, 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 wait.
Oh.
I did, right?
Yeah, do you wanna amend the motion to say?
I'd like to amend the motion that we make arrangements to, and with discussion of course, that we make arrangements to move the restaurant trailers out here at the Civic Center to accommodate the additional bathrooms that we've been talking about for years, kind of years.
That'd be a
And I'll
request to
second that.
amend your motion.
Mm-hmm.
You okay with that?
That's fine. I would like to bring something else up about that. I think when we talked about it, when the city was worried about it being a problem for us, there's also a situation of handicap
Yes.
accessibility, and that's another expense you're going to have to pay if you're going to have it anywhere here on the
Yes.
city property or A&P property or anything else.
Mm-hmm.
People in wheelchair can't get in it, so that's something to think about.
Yeah.
I
Agreed.
didn't know A&P owned that. That was
I didn't
before
really
my
know
time.
it either, that's why I
Okay,
brought it
well-
up.
But, let me,
Yeah.
we're gonna have to move it twice a year.
Maybe.
Right, maybe. It's gonna be a burden on us, and it's not legal down there anyway to start with, like he pointed out. I think we should look into selling things.
Okay. I thought about it when the subject came up about moving it, who it belongs to, and all of that. The reason why it belongs to the city, to the A&P, is because it is not attached. Anything that's not attached belongs to, if A&P paid for it, it belongs to A&P.
I would think.
You know. So we have been talking about additional restrooms out here, and we saw the need for that during the Treasures show, Treasures event. And since that is available to move, I don't see why we cannot move it here. With adjustments
Move it out here?
out here, we'll have to talk. I went one step ahead when I knew that this came up, and did speak to an excavator. And he is going to be talking with Billy about plumbing and stuff like that. So
Will we get a chance to vote on that before it happens?
that's not
Oh,
going to
yeah.
be decided. It's going to have to be voted because there's going to be bids on that. It's not just going to be one excavator. If we can find more, we're going to have to get bids on all of that.
It's gonna be a burden on us forever,
Okay, well,
as long as we
we've
own
got
it.
a motion on the table about checking into getting it moved and,
Yes.
So, all in favor?
I,
Any nays?
And just so you know, that motion was to move it.
Yes.
Okay,
Don't
sorry.
think about it, not to do it, you're moving it.
No, no,
And you're
no.
moving it up here, and when you do move it, you need to move it somewhere where it's gonna stay, because you're not gonna move it twice without having to pay twice, so.
That's right.
Be careful with that.
Yeah.
When you're looking into that, when you call Dale this May, get a cost on each time, because I think we were thinking it was gonna be crazy expensive each time they come to hook up to
Right.
it.
No, the discussion.
That's
that-
not something you can move back and
Yeah,
forth.
the discussion that we had with this guy is that he had a look at it. He came out here, and he knows that we need the plumbing and all of that. He told me where the existing restrooms are, and of course the handicap and all of that has been expressed to him. So, and he did call Billy. So, I guess Billy knows where everything is here compared to me or anyone here.
So your thoughts was for Billy to do that work?
No, nothing of that sort yet. Nothing is concrete. This is only the possibility, because it was said that the city don't have any form of moving the trailer. So naturally we have to make a decision then, and since A&P has to bear the cost, I figured why not start working on the process to see what's required. Because I don't know what's required, none of us know what's required until we start asking the questions. And I didn't think that I needed permission from the A&P at this point to go ahead with making inquiries. And then once we know, because this would be a good guideline to see what the guy specifies on the job as well. This and this, concrete pad, piping. And then we can go ahead and get more bids, because we do need more than one bid before this commission decides.
Sure.
So yes, that will
Are
take
you
a bit
gonna
of
get the
time.
bids? Are you gonna get the bids?
I will go ahead and do that because since I've already called this one. If the commission wants me to, yes. If they want to appoint someone else,
Okay. The way I understand it is the city wanted to buy this, but they didn't have the money, so we bought it for them.
yeah, because it was an improvement, an upgrade to the park, and the commission will help with upgrades of the park.
Well,
Good.
let's donate it to the city.
might donate it to the
He
river.
doesn't want to. And he's shaking his head there. He doesn't want to.
Okay, moving on, there was just a quick question on the mural on Mercantile Building. Bruce had something?
Oh,
Which
yeah,
building is that, Bruce?
that's the one on,
This first
This
one
one,
right
Spring
now.
Street, when you
The
turn to
old
the
mural.
logo.
Cotton Mercantile
Yeah,
Building.
the logo.
I don't know who owns it. I know that mural was painted in '92 by an artist named Kermit.
Ernie Patton
Ernie
Patton.
was the main artist.
Okay,
Kermit
anyway,
helped him.
I'm thinking that painting should be either removed or replaced or refurbished. And I would like to see if I can, contact the people, find out, who would be good at doing that painting or whatnot, and the approvals.
Do we have
I think that would be a
That was the
project
first thing
that,
I brought up when I got on the commission.
did ya?
I wanted to bring it up
Well, let me
too.
elaborate on this.
Frida had looked into
You
that.
got the history, you're the history buff. Okay.
We contacted Norton Arts and Studios. I spoke to artists who have done restoration in Berryville, replacing and restoring numerous signs in that city. You ought to pay them a visit sometime. They have done a fantastic job there. The same thing's going on in Paragould, Arkansas.
Yeah.
Okay. I contacted Norton Arts Studio. These people are fine arts conservators. They are well-versed and have done many, many restorations of various murals across the country.
Right.
They submitted a bid. They are...
When was this? What year?
They came down here and they were here probably
Oh, last year?
4 hours.
Was it in 2018?
That was in 17.
17.
And submitted the bid to us. They looked it over. And in order to restore it, it will take a tremendous amount of restoration to the brick wall that it is painted on. If you stand and look at that, you can see where the brick and everything, it's peeling, it's in terrible shape. There's also some other problems up there on that wall. They can do it. They really were excited about seeing this particular mural. They liked it. They were very complimentary about it. And their total bid, and I'm not going to go into all of the details of what it takes. There's pages of it here that would take. Their conservation fee is $64,000. Now, in order to make it worthwhile and to restore it so that mural will be there for many, many years, the restoration work needs to be done on that brick wall. We don't own that building.
Right, I understand.
It's privately owned.
Right.
We cannot accept a bid and pay for restoration on a privately owned piece of property.
That's correct.
Now, if you want to give us a donation to pay for that and do it, then we can pay for the painting.
Right.
That's rather expensive.
He said, right, so you don't...
I know,
Right,
you didn't get your wallet
that's-
out. But it's worthwhile.
Right.
And I, for one, do hate to see them.
I'm just, I'm only asking
I
you
sat down there and
to
watched
do
them
more
when they
research.
painted it.
There-
It was great. Now, if it were painted as it is now, without doing the restoration on those brick walls, it would only be a matter of time until we're going to be right back where we are. And they have a product that they can paint.
2000.
Once they've done the painting, and it's a sealer, and they put it on, and he gave the time it was to be done, how often it had to be done, and what it really does is preserve the painting and the wall behind it. Again, this is not our building. We don't own it. Now, that said, we had to turn this bid down. But I talked to them again the other day. They're still interested, and they really would like to do the project, but they understand the situation here. I have talked to some other artists, I'm talking to some now, and this discussion is to bring them in and just restore those 4 buildings that are on there. All of that work in the middle, there was the old iron bridge and all of that, all of y'all have seen it before. Not do that, because that's where an awful lot of the damage is. But the 2 buildings that's painted on there on each end, we're talking about possibly looking at those and painting and redoing those. I don't have any bids on it, and then the weather got bad, it rained and poured, and I haven't got anybody to come up and actually give us a bid. But this would be absolutely perfect if we could do it. It's out of reach. We can't do it.
Is that a historical building?
Pardon me?
Is that a historical
Yes,
building?
they're all historical downtown.
Does it have to be done through the conservancy? I went to art school, there's a lot of people
There are a lot of people.
that can do this, and that wall's not gonna be worth 64,000 if we knock it down and rebuild it. But there are ways to cover that up
There
without
are a
spending
lot
that
of
much
ways.
money.
Yes, you're right, there are a lot of ways to do it, but in order to expend the money that we would have to on this, we'd like to have it done right.
Sure.
You know, and I'm not saying they wouldn't be right, but there's ways and there's ways.
What they're talking about doing is sealing it to keep moisture from getting
Right.
behind it,
Right,
which, that's not a
That could be
$64,000 project.
but again, it's not our building.
But I
You
would,
want to go ahead and?
yeah, I want to go ahead and at least contact the owners of the building if I can. I haven't made any effort at this moment in time, but I think we would have to contact the owners, and if we proceed, we would have to get approval from the owner first, and then discuss if we want to restore it, we want to paint over it and start over. The thing's been there for 27 years, so whatever we do, it could be lasting for 30 years, and that's about it. No matter what you do. So,
If you had permission.
if we have
From
permission to go
the
ahead.
people who own it, there's another idea too. I understand the wall is crappy.
That's all I
But
want.
we live in a time where the graphics is incredible. There could be an overlay on that wall, and it doesn't have to be part of the brick. If we could find an original picture of that painting, it could be recreated from a sign company or anybody that does graphics and be placed over the whole thing and not interfere with the wall at all. Boom, and you got no money spent.
I've got a
And
real
we
good
did talk
picture of it
about
right
that.
after it's finished.
It can be done easily, I think.
We did talk about that when they came up here. But these are the people that, they don't usually recommend that because they like to work on the natural surfaces.
Oh, I'm sure.
surfaces and
We'll
all
just
that.
get some graffiti artists.
But yes, you're absolutely
Did a
correct.
good job.
It can be done. And
That's
I
like
did
a
not ask
$60,000
for
project.
Okay.
Yes, Laura.
I just had a question on that too, because I remember something about the building itself. There was also a problem behind the wall with leakage for the roof and everything as well. So I just wanted to bring that back up as a point of reference if you're going ahead with a motion and stuff like that to contact the owner and that issue. So I know it was like in that back corner or something, it had a leakage problem back there before. And that was
We
part
don't-
of the problem originally.
And we don't have to have a motion for you to just check into it, so do what you want to do.
If we look into the overlay, that, none of that'll matter.
Go.
I bet you can't do it.
Almost like a billboard.
Little reverse.
It's almost like a billboard that is of the exact replica of the original, that is either bolted to or off of the building, and it would look,
We had talked to,
That's a good idea.
while these people were here, they went around and looked at the rest of the town. And they would really love to come in here and paint more than one mural. Because for one thing, they like the idea that Hardy is a history town, and it was a railroad town originally, and they came in with all these wonderful ideas. And they pointed out several different walls here in town, and that was when they mentioned that, the different ways of doing all of this. And we'd love to have this restored, and I might add that the person that paid to have this done was Kevin King.
really.
So it means a lot to all of us to have this restored if we can possibly do it.
I travel around, I have the whole state of Arkansas as my territory in my real job. In every little town, towns that don't have anything to offer like Hardy does,
That's right.
have developed these beautiful murals in every little town. Blytheville, Monette, little places that nobody has a reason to stop by there, has beautiful murals all over.
Yeah.
And we should have something, we figure it out.
Well, I talked to one artist, we had hoped to, we have the parking lot that's down behind, across from Dr. Thompson Park, and we were looking at the back of the building and said, well, this is kind of blah, we need a mural painted on the back of that building. And so we talked about having a freight train with the old Frisco name on it and the historic part of the railroad, because it's right across from the railroad. We talked about several places here in town. This one on this particular building, if we could find a way to do this and to pay for it and all, to me would take priority.
If we have other walls, I would recommend we talk to local artists and school artists artists within the school.
I've been saying for a while now, we need to contact the school.
Have you been to Paragould lately and seen what they've done down there?
When I was in college, I did paintings and traded them for beer, so I know there are people out there with,
Gosh, come on.
there are skilled artists that we could call on.
You can start here, you have a project, right? You can start with this.
I can't see anymore.
All right, the next thing is, Thorough, you had a question on the matching grant status.
Yeah, I think, how am I gonna put that? There's supposed to be a grant for, I think it was 15,000 for the stage, lighting, bathrooms.
Tables and chairs. No, not the bathrooms, not
Tables and
bathrooms.
chairs.
Tables and chairs, yeah, not bathrooms.
Can I enter something?
Yeah, go ahead, I don't know exactly what it was.
We've got a meeting coming up, I think it's Friday, I'm trying to see if the mayor's nodding back there yet, but the lady who's running that grant, we have the grant, it has been granted to us.
For 15.
15,000, it's a
Yes.
magic funds grant, 50/50, we have to spend 15, and it's in the budget this year, it is so far. And I don't have the specifics on it, so we've asked Carrie McIntosh, who is the grant administrator from White River Planning and Development. She's coming in Friday, if the mayor's available, to talk to us about that grant and getting it all set up. So,
But that's supposed to be used for here,
yeah, it was originally written for the A&P as the A&P
everything
grant,
but the bathroom.
but they couldn't do it because they weren't, it had to be a city government, so the city had to pick it back up. So we're doing it through our budget, but basically they're paying for the 15,000, hopefully paying for the 15,000 matching.
Yeah.
So,
We
as
did
far as I
budget.
know, nothing's been spent on this. I have seen no expenditures on any of this.
No.
We already had that budgeted.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got that.
So it's in both budgets, whether it's agreed yet, I don't know.
We did vote on that, so.
When we
did.
talked about that, I think we made the mayor, I can't remember, I think it was purchasing agent, is that what we did?
Yes.
And somebody's gonna have to buy these tables and chairs and lights and the stage. So
PA system.
don't we need to go ahead and
We need
redo
someone to
that
actually
and
research
make the
that,
mayor
yes.
now the purchasing
Yeah.
agent for the A&P for those items?
And they are round tables, as far as I know, it said round tables. But I believe they have tables that the leaves come off so it can be a straight table as well. But somebody needs to be working on that from,
Not these type of tables.
they are round conference tables, but they are tables that you can put the sides down so it becomes a straight table as well. So you can convert it to straight tables.
Lights, tables, chairs, and PA.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No PA.
I don't
No
think PA was mentioned. Tables, chairs, lighting.
But I think
stage.
we can use that money for PA system. If we have the
Well,
funds,
here's the thing.
30,000, we
I was
we
gonna
might
say,
be
there
able
ought to be
to.
a lot of money left over.
Yeah, so we should be able to do that too.
I can't see that
Sound system.
all
It
that's
probably
gonna
said
cost
sound
that
system.
much.
That's a famous last word.
Yeah. I'd like to make a motion that A&P designate the mayor as our purchasing agent to buy these things for the Civic Center.
Do we have a second?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Wake up over there.
I was saying it. My partner in crime is.
You're doing all the motions.
Okay, so what is that now?
All in favor, was there any discussion on that?
So what-
Yeah, before final decisions are made, we would like to actually see exactly what we're going to be getting. So we know for sure that it will work here as well.
We had a thing on the lighting that the mayor gave me a copy of. I thought he'd already bought it.
He
So-
did order it at the time, but at that time, we're going to get the city to help with the payment.
Well, the city
And then
did
the
put
grant
in
came through, so he had to put a hold on
3,000,
that.
I think, for the lights. Now, I don't know if that's our matching,
We never bought the lights. We pledged to do
Yeah,
that.
we didn't
what,
use
was that
them.
under the 2018 budget? We never used it then.
Yeah,
I don't know if he rolled it over or not, I don't know, I forgot.
Well, what happened is we started all this up and then all of a sudden we got the grant. And so we kind of went, well, what are we doing now? We've got money coming in and we didn't ever really regroup after that. So this is the time to do that.
All right.
Okay.
Do you have a motion in the second?
All in favor?
yes.
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 Yes,
Aye.
yes.
Any nays? All right, motion carried.
All right, you had,
The next thing was a parking problem, and I think that was you again, Darrell.
Yeah, I just want to say a couple things on that. I think the A&P, I mean, this building was originally designed for a car museum with the adequate parking out here. But when we started having a huge event that pretty much encompasses the Civic, I don't think council or A&P realized that there was going to be a parking problem. And I don't know if we do or not, but at those events, you got bills all filled up. It's all over. There's parking all over. So I think there's a parking problem when we have larger events, when we don't have those smaller ones like the pretzel truck and whatever they had, and maybe upcoming, maybe the parking will be adequate. But I think that we've got to be aware that there is a problem, and I don't know if we can resolve it at this time or not, but
Well, currently, the
If
land,
there
the lot next door, the grass
Yes.
between here and down home, that is Ernie Sutherland's, which we are leasing on an annual basis.
and that
The
was
lease
a
is for 5
purchase.
years, after the 5 years with the option to purchase.
Okay, so right now,
Yeah.
the-
What's the lease on that versus outright?
$1,500 a year.
What's he want for the whole thing?
I think 125,000, I think.
for 5 years.
Yes.
Okay.
And that does not, the lease that we're paying won't come off that. So when he said that, we're like, no. There's just one other agreement with him that for the 4th of July, when the fireworks set up there, they pay him. We've agreed that that will go to him, not to us. We would like it, but now we could not use the lot next door during the rains when we
Yeah,
had
well,
the treasures because it was just all.
Yeah, I realize that. So, I mean, I don't know if that's a future solution to that or not.
Yeah, we got to work on that.
We
We
I mean,
are aware of that.
We talked about this at a previous meeting, I believe it was September, October. And one of the things that I wanted to put in the plan for the Civic Center, and the mayor agreed with me and volunteered to do most of the work, was to remove this median out here where the trees and bushes are.
Maybe a
Completely
little bit
do
more
away with it.
additional parking there.
Yeah, well, they'll clear up the lane. This whole place back here, when you get off the parking lot, is mud when it rains.
Yeah, I no doubt about that.
And so we were hoping that the city could take their equipment, get
Do
rid of
some
the
paving.
median, the bushes and the trees, and level it off and put gravel on it
So,
until somebody could afford to pay it, which I'm sure maybe in 4 or 5 years after we pay for the building,
That'd
we
be
could
good.
probably do that.
Start thinking about
So is this something we kind of want to maybe talk about more at the next
Yeah,
meeting?
yes, I just want to bring it up that I didn't know if anybody knew that there's a problem.
there's a
and-
big
and-
problem.
And whatever the solution is that we're working toward.
Okay, this excavator that came, I did talk to him about that as well, to give us a pricing on that chat gravel and remove the island, because I remembered you saying that, so.
So we at least have a price, or didn't he give you an
No.
estimate? We have.
I just spoke to him, so he's not going to be talking to Billy and then take up the rest.
So that might be
It might be
something-
next week, maybe, where he
Well, it
can
might
come
be
up with
next year.
something.
next meeting.
Yeah.
But your lease is for how long?
We went through 2 years, it's the 3rd year, we paid how many installments? We paid 2 installments, yes.
We certainly don't want
It was a total 5
to go to the
years.
expense of putting gravel out there without a long
No,
term.
this
No,
gravel
no.
is not for the lot
That's not
next
for
door.
that.
This is
That's
for
right
Oh,
next
okay,
to
right
it.
here,
out
okay.
here, yeah. Oh, no, we're not doing anything on that one, no, not yet.
Okay, so we'll work on that more this
Yep.
next.
I'll put it on the next meeting.
Next item is KAIT, and I just want to quickly talk about that because we got something in our Facebook where Tara Ferguson from KAIT has asked us if we're interested in having a weather camera here. Apparently we had one a long time
We had it a
ago.
long time ago.
It's quite expensive, and my computer was down, so I wasn't able to print this off, but if we're interested, I will do all the printing off, bring it all to you guys the next meeting, but it is $2,995 a month.
Yeah,
To have that here
very
for,
expensive.
for 2 years, so,
But after so many years, that stops, doesn't it? Or
it says
changes.
2-year minimum commitment. So if we want to, by all means, I can bring this information back to our next meeting, and she will come and discuss it, she said. But if not, then we won't waste time on it, so then.
You can look out the window for a lot cheaper.
Okay,
I liked it
so,
when we had it.
I make the motion that we decline.
Second.
okay, all right, all in favor? Aye. Okay, good.
You decline, you second.
Bruce, your heat warming center.
Oh, yeah, I'm just, there's another thought. If the use of the Civic Center, can that be used, can we use this, or do we want to be able to use this as a community warming center during the winter and a cooling center like in the summer? I don't know if we want to use the whole building or part of it, but if we get into a disaster situation and, you know, minus 15 degrees for a week, you know, we may want to do something like that. I don't know.
There
You're
was
talking
talk
about-
about that, sorry, I think probably 2017.
It was this
That-
year, last year.
Yeah, that you know, like for disasters and stuff like that.
Only
it's
for
gonna be used
emergencies,
As a
though.
shelter, as a core emergency.
I think for
Yeah.
Red Cross, you have to have showers and you have to have bigger bathrooms. Not all you can, but there's an issue with what you got. You put people in here, you gotta be able to use a restroom, and those 2 restrooms are cut.
Well,
That's insane.
When we talked about this, it was brought up and put in the minutes that the Civic Center would be retrofitted as a shelter
yes.
using some kind of mitigation funds from the Pocahontas flood. Was that right?
Yes, yes, there was
That was,
something
that
about
was in the
that.
last 6 months or so.
Mhm. Yeah, I remember.
Okay,
I can't
so,
remember who brought that up, but I remember it being brought up.
That's something we might want
Yes.
to look into for the next several meetings or whatnot, and get more
okay,
information.
good. We're almost there. Wilson, you have something on the conference?
Yes. Did anyone else indicate a desire to go?
Nobody emailed me, so.
Yeah, I won't be able to go. I'm probably gonna
Right
have.
now, I am one that's going, so,
I would like,
last year, one of the reasons, Bruce and Mark, that we're gonna do this is, last year was brought to our attention as to why we weren't there, being that Hardy is, you know,
we definitely need to have somebody there.
tourism. And so we needed representation at this governor's conference on tourism, and it's gonna be held in Hot Springs. And so, that's why we felt that we should honor that and have somebody there.
That's on February 28th?
24th, 25th, and 26th. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I'm closed Sunday, Monday, so that allowed me to go, and I'll get coverage for Tuesday. But did you have any questions on that then?
Yes, we've got $1,000 budgeted for training, right? Did we use any last year at all?
Yes, we did. I
Okay.
went to the governor's
Well,
conference.
I don't know if we're going to use any more this year or not, but
Municipally?
needless to say, A&P needs to pay her registration fee, and I think we should reimburse her for her mileage and tips. There was some question about the tips.
Yes, there was a question about the tips
But-
from what you told me.
I mean, that's an expense.
I agree.
And there's not, I think they furnished some of the meals at the
It
conference.
hasn't
They
provided an
furnish,
agenda yet.
they furnished the, probably breakfast and
I
lunch,
doubt
I
it's
think.
gonna be $10, if that much.
Well, she'll be within the budget, so
So
Do you want me to
I'd say
no
that
problem
yes,
with
you
the
know.
mileage
Well,
at 58 cents a mile?
I would say this, if you want her to be able to use tips, I would get it in this, that you've approved her to use use tips to pay for tips and her.
Okay,
things.
so we-
That's,
I
that's,
I would like to make a
that.
motion,
Yeah.
in addition to paying her registration, that we pay her mileage at the rate of 58 cents a mile and reimburse her for any tips she has to give.
You want to put a percentage on that? A customary,
Might be a good
a
idea.
15%,
Might be
I
a
would
good
say,
idea.
you know,
I think right now it's 18% is the standard, isn't it? Or-
it's according if they auto grant you, most places it's 15 to 20, you know.
It don't matter.
A waitress is going to be happy with 15, she's not going to be happy with 0.
Yeah, that's
mileage and tips.
okay. So,
Motion.
Did you say
motion by
58
Charles.
cents, 58 cents per mile?
Who seconded it?
I second that.
Okay, Amy?
Go ahead, Amy did.
All in favor?
Kendra did.
Aye. Any nays? Do I need to abstain?
You can.
I'll abstain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Charles, that 58 cents, that's the IRS standard for this year. You can't pay over that. so-
Right.
Okay.
And you'll be within the budget.
Okay, and last and final is the financial report.
The reason why I asked for this to be towards the end is because I'd like to, I kind of made a budget for the capital expenses, so we know where we stand. Right now, our capital reserve account has 73,000. And discussion with the guy about the restrooms to be moved here in the parking lot, gravel. It might be plus minus 50,000. This is just a ballpark figure that I'm guessing. I know the gravel, what it should cost, but I may have escalated one and probably the other is too low, so I allocated 50,000 to that, just to be on the safe side. Then we have the grant match of 15,000, and the sign I allocated 8,000 because we knew we'd have extra expenses with the new sign. That's 73,000. I know we're talking about the pavilion for the park, Greg. I think once we get the estimates from these guys for moving the restroom and laying it and whatever else is needed, we can then start seeing how much we can use towards the pavilion. That's my,
But the 15,000 for the matching grant.
that is here.
That's in the normal.
That's in the normal because we did vote for that and we agreed to that, so I kept that aside. Like I said, I may have escalated, so if we decide at some point that, okay, we will, if we can put a hold on the gravel work to accommodate the capital expense or some of the capital expense towards the pavilion, then I think we should consider that. But this is my suggestion.
So the $50,000 is to move the bathroom here, gravel it in, and put it in place?
Concrete, gravel and all of that. But like I said, you know, if we can put a hold on the gravel part of it, because I did tell the guy, give us a separate bid on the gravel, so we know what we're looking at. That way we can play around with that and work with the city on where we can.
I'm with Charles now.
That is expensive bathroom.
But-
We're talking about the same bathrooms we were talking about a minute ago?
Yeah,
Well, you know,
It's
it might be less. Like I said, I escalated because we've got to do the concrete work and all of that, and a little canopy type of, so it closes, you know, it's not going to be attached to the building. So the ramp and all of that, it'll cost, yes. But to build new bathrooms will probably cost much more.
But you're getting bids and stuff on all that?
We're getting
right?
bids, yeah, yeah.
All right.
So, I mean, you know, I want everyone to understand that we have this money, but we have these expenses as well, and that's not even counting anything for in here, within the building. So we're just going to be very careful where we're using all this money and how.
So, just to clarify, as the treasurer of the city, I'm trying to figure it out. This is 73,000 is what's in the fund now.
In the fund right
So
now.
it's basically reserve money, it's your capital
Yes,
money.
yes.
Is that taking into account any replenishing of the fund next year? 'Cause we transferred $25,000 last year to
Yes.
that fund because it was over. It
Yes,
was
and
beyond
that
your budget.
includes that.
If I remember your budget, you're looking at like budget of like 70,000, I don't have it in front of me, I apologize. You know, the income last year was like 96,000. If you're
Yes.
forecasting something close to 96,000 again, how much are we spending?
Okay, last year we spent 62,000, but now this year we have 30,000 more, in here, no, 20,000 more for the building.
So 82,000, so there's possibility of
Yeah.
another $16,000, 10,
Yeah.
15,000.
Our budget is looking at 108, hopefully we get that revenue.
Right.
This, in 2018, our revenue did not make the 100,000.
I would ask you to consider the plan to move the trailer, get it up here stationary, and if you need to
Yes.
plumb it, do that, and get some kind of temporary ramp to it, and then we stage in the next phase, which is, canopy cover, and whatever you have to do to build it in. That may be a next year project.
We could do that.
Because we need to fund this,
Consider
the
that.
city's got to be funded on what they're doing, or we're going to cut something.
Yeah.
The
we
Lowberg
can
project's going to
consider
go,
that, yeah.
or the matching grant's going to go. That's just how it's going to be.
I understand that, and that's why I said, until we get the bids, then we know what route to take after that. Because it can be a two process stage or 3, I don't know.
Well, I mean, if the bathroom was there and not here for next year, that's how we had it planned as of 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So if the bathroom was just moved up here and not even utilized, it's going to be the same as what we
Uh-huh.
had there. The city's not
Yes.
going to have it down there,
Yeah.
so.
But
having
we
it
understand with the
moved,
floods,
so
we don't want to do that.
If you can get it moved here and move, I don't know, what was the estimate? Ernie, did you get an estimate for moving it? I apologize, Mr. Mayor, did you get an estimate for
I
moving it?
just wanted to comment on that. Number one, he never gave me a dollar price, but he said he would do it as cheap as he possibly could for the city. But the importance of moving it, we're gonna have to move it, period,
Yeah.
right now. It can't wait. He went and looked at it, he said, if you call me when it's raining, I won't be there. He said, that is too big, my trucks cost too much money, and I'm not putting them in a danger zone. He said, if you'll call me when it dries up, or the ground's frozen, I can come move that building. He said, he does have the equipment to do it, and they would no problem with that. Billy said, there's no way, there's nothing that will even lift it, much less move it. He did not give me a dollar price, but I dealt with him over the years, and I feel very confident. I talked to Billy about it too. He's used him, and they're just very reasonable. But my intention was to move it out of the danger zone and put it up on higher ground. If y'all want it down here,
Yeah, because we
It's
need
higher
restrooms. We need
can
extra
bring it down here
restrooms.
just as easy.
Because
as we
Tracy
put
will
it
be
on.
jumping on us next year, no,
But-
this year.
The problem is.
As easy, I mean, there might be a problem just maneuvering out there, especially with that median with the stuff.
I will have him come look at it. But I just want you to know that we may not be able to wait until y'all get ready for your project, because it's got to go. It's got to be brought out there immediately.
It's a 40-foot deal, isn't it? Isn't it 40 feet long?
I think it's about 45.
45.
But it's got 4 axles. It takes a semi to move it. It can't be moved by, we thought about the dump truck, and it just won't do it.
Well, let's see what this guy, he should come back to us soon. He knows that he's going to be talking to Billy as well. He's
Yes.
already talked to Billy, I believe, but I'm not sure if they came out here. I'm
Yeah,
not sure
it's so
about that.
wet. Tomorrow, there's no way to move it anyway. I was going to go ahead and have it moved on high ground, but I just assume, especially if y'all want to pay for it. If not, the city will bear the burden of getting it out of there, because it's too dangerous to leave there because of the flood season
Yeah.
coming on. And the only problem is, any building that's portable and movable, they give you permission to put in there, it has to be available to be removed. Well, that one's not. Available to be removed when it's raining or cold. Cold, if it's frozen, it's fine. I'm sorry, but anytime that ground's soft, they won't bring that big truck in there, because it's, of course, it's bigger than
Yeah,
that truck.
it's a stage, no doubt.
And so it's got to be done prior to the disaster time. So if we got a call tonight, there's a flood coming, he says he wouldn't come in there, he's gonna drive his truck in there. So now we're waiting for it to get frozen or
Right.
dry in the next few days.
We're supposed to have 14 degrees or.
Well,
It might happen.
Reading all the comments while I left there, if the ground does freeze this weekend, would be ideal.
That's the least expense involved in this thing, is getting it out of there.
Yeah.
If there's a place here to bring it, that's gonna help.
Does the city have a place to put it?
Well, we have a temporary spot on the railroad at the backside of this parking lot. There's a little high place right there on the end of that parking lot on that grass. We could get it up in there. But then y'all would have to have it towed on down here.
that's
And
double
That's
cost.
not a problem. It might be the best way to do it. Just go ahead and get it up there. When y'all get ready, well, you can use whoever you want, or this company may come over and give you an estimate. If you have a place down here to bring it now, that's what I would do. A lot of ground froze.
I'll talk to Billy tomorrow and ask him if they came out here or not, because Billy called me and said,
I'm just saying that if you wouldn't do that,
Yeah.
I'll help you. We'll get it out of there. As long as we get it out of there, the danger's on over. It's not what we're gonna lose, it's what it's gonna do if it floats. There's houses.
It's gonna hit my buildings, what it's gonna do.
Yeah,
Oh, you're
that's
up
why
high enough. Well, the
your
story-
building is high.
We've had our warning and we're ready to move it, so if y'all can come up to the place where, that's where we'll bring it.
This legs on them houses. Chung, chung, chung.
It's just not something we can put on.
No,
And I'm gonna
no.
tell you, the last
I
flood
thought
we
the wheels
had,
moving.
I live right at Bluebell. I walk down the end of my road and somebody's patio with lawn furniture on it was headed down toward the beach.
So you went and caught it and kept it by you?
Huh?
Did you keep it with you? You should have.
So right now, are we staying as planned of her getting the quote she was going to get? Or, I mean,
I make a
you said
motion
it's
to
gotta
get a quote
done
on
now.
having it moved right now, somewhere.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. So that's good to go then.
I
The
might
other-
I might have a person that might be able to help in moving. You want me to give that name to you? And
That
you?
work. Yeah.
Okay, the other thing is, and I know that she's got more to do with the financial report.
No, I'm done.
Okay, but she has given us now that we have 73,000. She's also budgeted approximately 50,000 for the bathrooms being renovated, right? My understanding of that.
Bathrooms and gravel. Like I said, I included the gravel because, you know,
Right.
we had the concern, we discussed parking lot before as
Right.
well.
But right
But-
now, the issue is the city is 20,000 short on their budget, from my understanding,
For the parks?
for the parks projects and stuff.
We think we have $20,000, we have a need for more than that, but we think $20,000 would be
We'll
our
get us over the
capital
hump.
need. It would be the legal reason for us to be able to help us.
So here's what I'm bringing is, do we, for the time being, table the bathrooms getting situated and we allot the 20,000, am I wording this right? The 20,000 for the city, or not, but we need to do something where the city knows that their budget is taken care of as well. Whether or not it's, I mean, this may not equal, I mean, we may have 20 for the city and 30 to be able to do the bathrooms. We may be able to do it all, but right now we need to guarantee the city their money to complete their budget and get it done. So that's my
I have one question that, I know we used some of the 36,000 that's sitting in the city account for the parks. There's a portion of
I'm
it.
carrying that over and planning on using it for, I'm basically taking it into the Parks Administration for that purpose.
Okay, so
So
you're going to be.
it is being
using
used
it?
as carryover.
Okay, all right, just want to.
Otherwise, it's 68,000 and we can go back another step here. That's all we can do.
Yeah.
So
I just want to remind him that there is that you have on there, so.
I think we have pulled every straw we possibly can, and we got down to if we can get 35,000 in the capital improvement side, which is what this is, it's all capital
Yeah.
improvements, then we're in pretty good shape. We spent some of that money, of the 45 we spent last year on the pavilion, so we've already gotten some of that out of this budget and last year's budget. But that would help us.
So I will make the motion to allot 20,000 of that capital reserve to be allotted for the city's budget for parks projects, right?
Parks, asset, capital improvements.
Yeah.
Second.
And any discussion?
All right.
For now, can we make that 15,000 to accommodate until we get prices?
Of moving that up here?
Yeah, you know, Because now we have to tell the guy, give us separate prices for just,
Well, I thought we left 30,000 in there for that purpose. That was, you said you had 50, so I'm just asking
Yeah.
for 20.
Because we want to get it moved up here, that's not a problem.
I
And
mean,
we will
really-
have it here.
Yeah.
It's just, if we get it moved up here, we get the city their money, then we'll have 30,000, and we'll see what kind of quotes come in for that. And even, like you say, if we have to work something out or pull something
yeah, but
out.
as you recall, I said that in this 73, in the breakdown that I gave, the inside work has not been included yet. I don't know what it's going to cost to work on this section here, and there's going to be work needed. We need some interior work for events as well. So I will make sure we have at least something set aside for that. That's the reason why I was asking if we can bring it down to 15 until we know, and then we can make changes and look for the
I understand what you mean, but I really think that we need to extend.
I mean, that's my suggestion. I don't know if anybody else.
Any
has
discussion on it?
to say.
I do have a, from the budget that we have, I guess this is what that you have, basically.
Which one is that?
I think that's something.
Yes,
somewhere
I think that's one.
So,
Yes, yes.
Are we reworking this 2019 budget,
No.
or
This is money in our capital.
This
This
is the funding that we're
you
talking
have
about.
operational
is-
funds
Yeah, this
and
is
you'll
all
have
operations, which will be
capital
out of the
reserve.
A&P taxes collected. And the capital account is money that we saved, and it's been, see, we have extra, I transferred it so that we don't dip into that until we have to for capital.
Right.
So that gets used for capital expenses only.
So that's
This is all
separate from what
operating,
this
separate From
is,
that, yes.
from these taxes
Yeah.
incurred. Are we going to have to change this budget to show the sign, the additional money that we
No,
put at the
that additional
sign?
sign money will be from the capital.
Okay, that will come
Yeah.
from capital.
See, in here, the 8,000, it's installation digital sign,
Right.
sign over canopy, whichever, whether it was
And
canopy
we were
or
thinking
that.
we were
So
both.
I've allocated 8 there because I wasn't sure, but, we were pretty close on this. So that's the reason why that's the capital. None of that is coming out of the operating.
We never did really vote on it,
On what?
the sign.
Yeah, we
Didn't we
did.
table it?
Well, we said we were going to bring it up into this, at this
Yeah.
moment in time, so.
So that's where now that will come in, and so we need to.
It would come out
Did we not
of
vote? I thought we
the
did.
reserves.
I've got to go. I've got to go to work.
Huh?
I got to go to work.
I'm sorry.
I work third shift.
Oh, man, take care.
Vote on that.
Did we vote on it?
Yes.
Did we vote on it?
The motion was for 20, so let's do the vote for the 20,000, because that is what the city needs in order to
Out
get
of
this
the
done.
reserve
You said
fund.
The motion was for 20 and what?
For 20,000, because that's what the city has to have. And they said if they can, he even said if it can,
If I can get down later, I mean, we're doing the numbers now, so if I get something else,
Okay.
we'll try it. Right now, let's commit to 20, and see where we're going.
Yeah.
I'm asking you to commit to 20, I can't take it.
We're tight on here. We're getting 24-hour police coverage and all that. We're not out. I don't know what you think. I would like to paint this building too, but I feel better
Oh, come on,
knowing
dude,
there's
show
police
us your
out there.
artwork. You said you drew before.
I can put some paint on there, but I want the cops.
Miss Frida, will you do the roll and,
Oh,
it's already almost
Wait.
9.
I was looking out.
You made the motion, right?
Yes.
Yes, and I
And who
believe
seconded it?
I
Gordon
second.
seconded it.
Oh, okay.
Reread the motion.
To allocate $20,000 of the capital reserve funds for the use in the city for capital improvements.
In the
For
park.
year 2019 parks capital improvements, yes.
From the reserve account.
Jeff is absent, he just left before he voted.
Yeah, well.
Desai,
Yes.
Gordon,
Yes.
Thoreau.
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes.
Prue,
Yes.
Gavin, yes, motion approved.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone second it?
Second it.
Okay, well, it's too many. I'll fault it then.
We adjourned.